Radio check. Radio check. Can anyone hear me? Radio check. Can anyone hear me? Now. It's a radio check. Hi. Hey guys. How we doing, boys? Can anyone hear me? Yes, in the chat. If the radio check is coming through loud and clear, I see spikes on my audio mixer, so it should be sound for you. Hey. Please, anyone? Hi. 13 people in chat. Can anyone hear me? 13. Nice. 5 by 5 says, keep your blistines. Nice. I'll tell you what, the bloody YouTube usernames will never not amuse me. Very creative bunch, some of you chaps. 5 by 5 audio. Thank you, Mr. World Fire 41. Excellent, guys. Apologies, slight technical hiccup there on my end, but we seem to be rocking and rolling now. So let's get straight into it. Guys, welcome. If this is your first time in one of these live streams, you may have been expecting something a bit more dramatic. However, you have been misled. You are in for a PowerPoint presentation. Hooray! So, apologies if your expectations are not met. To the dudes who have been in some of these debrief live streams before, you should not be surprised. So here we are yet again with another debrief live stream on Mr. Inbetween, which was of course the video which came out last Saturday, and it was part of the Tactically Speaking series, which is one of the two sort of main styles of video that I run on the main channel there, with the other one being the Tactical Analysis series, right, which is the X versus Y, Helm's Deep versus Australian soldiers, blah, blah, blah. So Tactically Speaking, for the uninitiated, is a bit more sort of free ball, and they're always a bit shorter, a bit less, well, edit intensive, to be frank. I don't have to make a bunch of crazy animations and move little red dots around on the screen for 5 hours. Hi. Okay. I'm going to hit slide. Actually, before I do, so a bit of bloody housekeeping rules, boys. Let you know where the fire escapes are and all that shit. So I lock into the slides. Again, if you've just jumped on one of these streams for the first time, I lock into the slides, I read my content on the screen, I try to elaborate, I say my piece, and then I go to the comment section. Sorry, the comment. What are you guys? The chat. I go to the chat between slides, right? Otherwise, it would turn what is already a long, needlessly long, arguably, this is probably a 2-hour stream into a 6-hour stream, because I'll just yap and get completely off track and on all sorts of weird and wonderful tangents. So the slides keep me focused. So I'm not ignoring you. If there's a lot of dudes in chat, I appreciate you for starters, interacting and engaging. But yeah, I'm not ignoring you intentionally. I'll get around to reading the chat between slides. Does that make sense? Because I'll just get too distracted, more so than I already am. With that being said, let's get to the first slide. Wrong. Now we'll get into the first slide. I won't spend too much on this because I kind of just got ahead of myself and yapped about it. But yeah, pretty much what I do in these is discuss the comments. For the most part, that's what the content of these debriefs makes up. I go through and I find themes or trends that were in the comments of the video, and then we discuss it here in the live stream. There's also some, not so much on today's one, but in some of the other ones I do behind the scenes stuff. Some people are interested in that, the production of how did you animate that and this sort of thing, but that's more so the tactical analysis series, I suppose. But yeah, also it's just yapping, boys. It's just yapping about, in this case, the material at hand, which is the wonderful Mr. Inbetween. Let me hold that chat here real quick because I haven't actually read it yet. Jacob, hi, how's the new battle video looking? What will it be, please? Operation Sunburst? It won't be Operation Sunburst. I'll tell you that much for free. I read it. Ray smiles like a shark. I like that. Ari, my man. Hello to yourself. It's a school night, bro. It sure is, bro. Let's send it, boys. First of all, it wouldn't be a bloody stream without an ad. Does she know she's an ad? Does CSRC know him is an ad? I've got some stuff. Sign up, become a member of the channel. Really helps support me. Or you can go treat yourself to some merch. I've got some Skits t-shirts, and they're all shipping from America now. I changed up the production, where it's being fulfilled and all that sort of kit. So yeah, it's all being shipped out of Florida, I believe it is. So good news for my American comrades. Not so great news for my Australian chaps. But yeah, it was just a simple matter of, how would you say it, logistics. Also a bunch of free download stuff. Some of them are free. I have a few paid products in there, but if you want the old school resources, that was the big focus of the CSRC Instagram account, you can still find them in the resource section of the website listed there on screen, www.coralseaco.com. Get yours now before they're gone. Parramatta Roads, Homebush. There's a bit of a throwback to any Sydney siders. Who remembers that? What was that? What was that shoe shop in Western Sydney you'd always see the ads for in like the late 90s, early 2000s? Who remembers Lube Mobile? That was another bloody Australian classic, another certified Sydney banger. Moving on. So the first slide here, boys, just a bit of praise, not just for me, but for the show as well. So firstly, thank you to you dudes who are watching or did watch this video. In terms of its performance in YouTube land, I was pleasantly surprised. I did not think this was going to do the numbers it did. Not because I didn't think I'd made a good video, just because I thought Mr. Inbetween is such a small IP that there wouldn't be that much of a fan base behind it, I suppose. Certainly not in the YouTube landscape. I'm not sure. Either way, I guess compared to, say, The Matrix, another video I've done, or Lord of the Rings, another video I've done which were successful by YouTube standards, by my comparisons anyway, Mr. Inbetween is a relatively smaller franchise, or series, brand, we'll say. So yeah, that it's done so well, I'm pleasantly surprised, and thank you to you guys. And I suppose it speaks to the loyalty of the Mr. Inbetween fan base. And I suppose what I underestimated is just that the enthusiasm and passion that people have for this show, for Mr. Inbetween, because I found and find myself in a similar thing. And I actually had it in the video at first, part of the script. I ended up cutting it out. I was going to adjust my mic a little bit because I'm seeing red. On the mic audio meter, that is not seeing red, like I'm about to burst into a violent outrage. Violent outburst. Every fan of Mr. Inbetween, and I was going to say this in the video, so I'm speaking about myself as well. I'm not like attacking any one of you dudes. Every fan of Mr. Inbetween thinks they're the only fan of Mr. Inbetween in the world. Because that's how it seems. It's one of those shows where you can watch it, you can mention it at work, or at, I don't know, wherever you are, uni, in the army, whatever your day job or day life is, and you'll have 5 people out of the 10 sample size, or whoever it is, who's been like, "Oh, Mr. Inbetween, no, I never heard of it." No one. It feels like no one has seen this show. I don't know if anyone else gets that sensation. So I guess that also speaks to the passion and enthusiasm of the fan base. Anyway, let's read some of these. So, Bullet, BCKWA, literally the best show ever made. Fourth Branch, 834 says, of all the shows I haven't seen, Mr. Inbetween is my favourite. And this one I quite like. It makes me chuckle because I think it speaks to also the virality of Mr. Inbetween. You know, there's a billion shorts and clips and TikTok edits and all this sort of stuff. And heaps of people who are very familiar with it but have never seen it. I am Deep Sea says, excellent analysis of an excellent show. Thank you. Tracy Brandt, 9524 says, I have seen clips from this show and found the character of Ray very intriguing, but I was never able to figure out the name of the show. This video popped into my feed. Very well done, but now Mr. Inbetween is the top of my watch list, as it should be. Thank you, Tracy Brandt. Based Battle Droid, 3507. Finally, the show gets more love. What's a based battle droid? As in, what's the characteristics of a based battle droid versus a conventional or a politically indifferent battle droid? I don't know. Happy Hippo says, great video about a great show. Thank you, Happy Hippo. Razor Camel, Skit's name. Never heard of this show. It's brilliant. Thanks for the gem. Oki N420, Blaze It, says, thank you as an American. I didn't know this existed. Totally going to check this out. Tyler Ramos, H2O, says, Inbetween is so fucking good. I wish Australian people were real. That one also gave me a huff. So there's a mix of themes here, and I've noticed that this video, is in the video I made, seems to be drawing people to Mr. Inbetween who had never heard of it, so that's a good thing as well. And yeah, if you're one of those people and you're watching this for whatever reason, yeah, super duper encourage you to go out and watch it because it rips. And for the other people just leaving positive feedback for the show and the video, thank you as well. I appreciate the feedback. You know, I'm a bloody human being. When I make a little video for the YouTube and it does well and people say nice things, you feel good. You know, I'm a bloody man. I'm a human being man. So yeah, thank you to the positive feedback. And also, if you're the dudes who got drawn to this show because of the video, please do go watch it. You are super should. Comments real quick. Saints, welcome, bro. Thank you, Mr. Hooker was also a great Aussie ad. I think I wrote, LJ Hooker, you're the best. It's an Australian real estate company, to the confused non-Australians in the chat. Up. Ian Lane, am I reading this wrong? Laney Wakura 8560. If anything, I'm glad more people get to find out about Mr. Inbetween. I love how well crafted the character of Ray Shoesmith is. Real. World Fire 41 says, rewatching the show recently got me craving Dimmies. Yeah, man, Dimmies good. Remember the soy sauce. Azia Braxi says, you're a human being, a real human being, mate. Aussies getting ideas above their station. I know. I'll bloody get back in my box. Azia Braxi, it's like Luca Brasi's hellish cousin from, not The Sopranos. What's Luca Brasi from? The Godfather. Okay, moving on, boys. Summary of this slide. Thank you for the positive feedback on my video, and good on you, and get out there. You've just discovered Mr. Inbetween and you want to go see it. If you're one of the clip watchers and you've been on the fence, as in you've heard of the show for years but only ever seen the bloody reels, go check it out for full in entirety. It's impeccable. Victor von Bitterson says, CSRC Q&A when? Right now. Here we're doing it live. So between slides, like I said, jump in the chat, talk some trash, be nice, don't be a jerk, don't be a bloody jag-off, ask some questions, and we can do it as part of this live stream. But like I said, I'll lock into the slides and we'll get a bit more dynamic or interactive between the content of the slides. That's the general policy for running business around here. Don't bring up, I'm not even going to mention it, what was that, a last live stream? The last public live stream I did was a disaster because it just descended into basketball memes. I don't even want to bring it up again, but if you were there, you remember. Fuck me dead. Let's avoid that again, please. Okay, next slide. This first sort of trending theme, Patchett stuff, I've just called it. Patchett stuff. Captain Lucky Luke says, Ray fires from the hip because that's how Aussie diggers were taught to fire open bolt submachine guns. We were using the F1, essentially the Aussie Sterling, right into the 90s, and if you were in the army up until about 1999, as Ray was, that's how you were taught to operate that style of weapon. Captain Lucky Luke has some more here about Ray's background. He speculates, summarising it, that he was a sapper, like a combat engineer, which is plausible, but not entirely related to the theme of these comments. Lord Kiltridge, second comment here, says, I was very impressed with the firearms handling in this series, a rare thing for me. I trained on the Sterling back in the early 80s. Hipfire was absolutely part of the training with this weapon, and it didn't take too long to become adept at ranges of 25 metres or less. Despite special training, the section support and general purpose MG roles, I've always favoured slower aimed fire. Blah, 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 some other stuff. The final comment here we go. Excuse me, I burped, rude. Fatman Faffing 4116 says, having served in the army 1977 to 86, I can attest we were taught to fire the SMG from the hip or instinctive position. They also had us training on the sneaker range where you walk a track and targets pop up randomly either side of you and engage from the hip. At short jungle ranges, it is effective, especially with an SMG. We're also taught to use the middle finger to fire and have the index finger running along the body of the weapon as an aid in pointing and aiming. Race performance was technically sound. So summarising these are fair points. I'm not putting these up to disagree with them. They're talking about how it's really just lending credence to, I think, the take I had, which was that, in summary, Ray doing hip fire was, what's the word? You could argue maybe not the best practice, but it was certainly aligned with what he would have been familiar with for this weapon system, right? So I'm not making an argument that hip fire is the best technique for shooting, which I think some other comments kind of were of that mind, that I was espousing hip fire so sick and that's the best thing and that's why he's doing it. No, it's what he was taught. And as we know, that just because you were taught something in the military doesn't necessarily make it the best technique or the most credible or world's best practice, particularly in shooting. Good grief. But these guys here, they're correctly pointing out that specifically with the SMG, the F1, as the first chap talked about, was the Australian Army's SMG. This was a method that was taught for that. And I didn't really specify that in my video. I just pointed out how hip fire broadly is a doctrinal technique, specifically to the Australian Army at the time. It might still be now. So that was kind of, I guess these guys it's adding emphasis to what I sort of spoke to. With that being the case, I was not convinced that Ray's service, so based on the timeline I did up, I'm not fully confident that he would have come across F1s in his time. I think it would have been well and truly phased out by the time Ray was, again, let's say he was infantry, and certainly if he went to special operations some point in his 8-year career, right? I don't think they would have been around in the time frame he was in, being late 90s. I think the F1 was well and truly phased out. And to kind of confirm that or get some more info, I reached out to Jason Harrison, who is pictured here on the right. This handsome bloody bloke. Meet the sniper. Sniping's a good job, mate. I can't remember the rest of the quote, but everyone knows the Team Fortress meme. So yeah, Jason Harrison, he was a sniper team leader man. He's currently, aside from just being an army dude, he's retired now, sorry, discharged. He runs the 2RAR Museum. So he's very, very well versed in history, not just for that unit, but in general, he knows his stuff. And he's also older than the hills and he's been around forever. And Jason said, this is talking about the F1 submachine gun, to be clear, which is pictured here on the left. Essentially Australian Army Patchett. Hey mate, it was in regular army, but mostly used by APC crew drivers and as such as a PDW. Interesting stuff, right? So, do we go for, if Ray did use this in his army time, was he a tanky? Or was he like a cav man? It was still in our armory at Main Q along with 7.62 Bren till early 1990. We used them on enemy. It means like role-playing enemy parties. I have pictures somewhere. I was in the Army Reserve 1987, joined 89. We still had them, we used them at the range. It was a very short range practice as it took ages to load the 30-round mags and then moments to blast them away. They were Australia's version of the Sterling. So I suppose what I'm getting at is that, yes, it is a cannon technique to fire SMGs like this, like Ray did from the hip. I'm not personally convinced that Ray would have been in a time when the F1 submachine gun was still trained on. So like Jason here said, who was in infantry at the time, you can see that, they were early 90s. What's his phrasing here? It was still in our armory till early 1990, right? Ray joined the army, I think it was 1998 on the timeline. I just don't think there would have been F1s kicking around then. And even just on my own memories of, and I was not in the army in the 90s, but I'm talking just media, photos, what you see of soldiers. Australian soldiers with F1 submachine guns in the 90s. Hell, if someone can find me a photo of that, as in like using one for training or operationally because it's like issued, not just messing around with one in an armory, I'll happily correct my opinion. Get what I mean? Let me read the chat here real quick. Oh, good grief. I'm seeing emojis. Up. Lane, Ian, I can't read your name, sorry. I watched The Magician after the video, which has like the first appearance of Ray in it. Super well done for what supposedly a school project. Yeah, so The Magician was, I'm pretty sure, Scott Ryan's film school project. So they were meant to make something short, but he decided to make a feature film. And from what I looked into it, because I watched a whole bunch of just pretty much any podcast that exists of Scott Ryan on the internet, I pretty much watched them all, just trying to learn as much as I could about this stuff. It got picked up by Nash Edgerton as well. So I think Nash Edgerton is involved with The Magician. I might be wrong on this now that I'm saying it aloud. I might be confusing the show and that. But The Magician has some hilarious bits. I think it's a bit edgier in some ways, the dialogue, than Mr. Inbetween. But it's still very similar. If you like Mr. Inbetween, you'll probably like The Magician, but it is stylistically very different. It's like a found footage thing, right? Up. Got 3 ads, but hello, I shall watch the video later. Okay, right, hey Mang, how you doing? Taylor Pine says, do you still do the Instagram quizzes or is the algorithm hiding them from me? Fair question. I've had a couple of people ask. No, I'm not doing the Instagram quizzes anymore. The main reason, there are a few personal factors, as in factors outside Instagram, but the main one is that I could not get my quiz button back for Instagram. I campaigned, I was lodging report after report after report, I was raising meta tech support over and over and over again. But yeah, my ban on the Instagram quiz button remains on the CSRC Instagram account. And after just so long of trying to make do with the what's the other feature? The poll feature, which is just a shitty alternative. It's really not purpose-built for what the quiz button does, obviously. I just got sick of it, to be honest. I cracked the shits, and yeah, with no quiz button, I simply got sick of trying to faff about making a shittier alternative in the poll button work for the Instagram quizzes. And that was really the nail in the coffin for me. I just kind of one Friday went to do it, still didn't have the quiz button after reporting the allegedly technical issue for the millionth time, and it was like, fuck this, I've had enough. There were a few other reasons, but that was the main one. Okay. Let's read some other comments. Tanksky Danksky. Apologies, I'm low key drunk as oh boy. He's getting drunk at 2 a.m. Still the meta, mate. Of course. As good grief, what is this word? Azia Braxi. What was your previous comment? Yeah, me getting above my station. There is accuracy and there is verisimilitude. I can't pronounce that word. There is accuracy and there's verisimilitude. The show doesn't need to be 100% right about where he served and how that links to techniques. It just needs to feel right. It needs to get enough right. I agree. I don't think that's a crazy take from Azia there. With that being said, well, I get into the details because it's interesting to me and it's fun to speculate, right? So I'm not suggesting I have the answers on he was definitely infantry or he was an SAS man, which is what a lot of other comments seem to suggest. It's just a fun speculation game. But I agree to your point that it ultimately doesn't matter in terms of the story. Taylor, cheers to Sunday night. This is an Aussie stream. Appreciate it, lads. Ryan, the only hip fight training I received was as a police officer. It was only pistol and for 7 meter and closer. Nice. Look at that glorious desert jelly bean DPC. Yeah, good stuff, huh? This is Drippy. Sorry, Anamachi. Welcome, my man. Thanks for jumping on the stream. Hope you're doing good, Dig. Yeah, iconic. The DPDU Australian camouflage here on screen right now. I can't remember what I rated it. I made a tier list video of Aussie camos a while back. So I can't remember what I gave this one, but I like it, man. It's iconic for its time frame. What else we got? Look at that Reddit. I'm having an ice cold Bundaberg rum, you bloody rum scum, Queensland. Anamachi, my father, God rest him, talked about qualifying the Owen gun in 1974 from the hip, specifically with what he called the 9mm pencil classic. The instructor poked holes in the target. Great job you passed because you can't hit shit from the hip. Yeah, the old bloody 9mm pencil at the class range has saved and qualified many a digger. So meta, not actually meta, understood. No, very much unmeta. They're very much unlad, not enjoys of dimmies, champs. Oi, I didn't realise it was Anamachi, Tansky Dansky, or at least Dad couldn't. CSR, would you ever do a Q&A? You're in one. You best start believing in Q&As. Yeah, maybe, man. Like a dedicated Q&A? Potentially. Maybe next, subscriber milestone, I'll do something like that. Thanks for addressing it. I enjoy them, but I understand. Cheers. No, thanks, man. I appreciate the question. I'm glad you enjoyed them too. Because, yeah, honestly, there's kind of a time where I just felt like, does anyone even care anymore about these either? And I was pretty regimented with those quizzes. Like, there was a few, I could count on one hand the amount of Fridays I missed in, say, a 3-year period that I didn't bust a quiz up. And yeah, it crossed my mind at one point. I was like, man, does fucking anyone even do these anymore? Or anyone even care about these? Obviously, I can see how many people are viewing the slides and that sort of shit on Instagram. But, yeah. Okay, but Q&A never. Sure, nitpicking is fine. Just saying that it's good for everyone to bear in mind that the show is doing really good work. Getting hung up on minutiae is for fun. Enjoy without losing respect for it. Yeah. Again, I don't disagree. Okay, next slide. More Patchett stuff. RAR Dingo with a Punisher skull, Skippy badge, green beret. Good lord. I think the main reason Ray fired from the hip was to preserve his night vision. The Patchett lacks a flash suppressor and firing through the sights would have definitely flash blinded him for a few precious seconds. Superfly, all this explanation about the night fight and you haven't even mentioned that ADSing, I love how gamer lingo makes its way into common military or firearms parlance. ADSing iron sights at night basically mini flashbangs you on every shot by the muzzle blast. I haven't shot guns. It immediately goes on to qualify I have no idea if this is true or not. I'm just saying things. I haven't shot guns at night, but I can imagine that that's the case. So hipfire is preferred without a suppressor, maybe. Well, these two gentlemen, RAR Dingo and Superfly, are saying it is factual. I'm not disagreeing with this phenomena, as in, yes, shooting weapons at night can blind you temporarily. I wouldn't say blind you. Let me just say hinder your night vision, your natural night vision, right? I disagree with the assertion that this is, and this, I'll be completely upfront, this is a pedantic riposte. This is me being very nitpicky and precise in pushing back on this take. So RAR Dingo's exact phrasing here, the main reason Ray fired from the hip. I disagree this was the main reason Ray fired from the hip. Not to say it's not a reason that might be true. I don't think it's certainly the case here. My evidence for this counterclaim is that every time, and there's 3 scenes with Ray firing the Patchett in the show, he's never once seen shouldering the weapon. He fires it at the hip when he first gets it from Gaz over here, when he kills the watermelons. Excuse me, I'm burping again. Rude. And this is the final episode, I think, of Season 3, the farm shootout. No, the farm shootout is what I called the Season 3, Episode 1 shootout. I'll just call it the shootout with Raphael's goons, because I didn't really cover that in the video. He also fires it from the hip here, even at Raphael's speeding car, which is rapidly increasing distance on him, right? So I don't think there's the precedent based on Ray's preference. And again, let's just imagine that he does it like this because that's how he learnt it in the army, which is my theory on it, right? So that's part 1. Part 2, the whole becoming blind from muzzle flash and losing your night vision. This is true if you are somewhere, say, in the jungle, and you are sitting on picket and it is pitch black under the triple canopy of Panama or Tully or Pandora or wherever you are, and your eyes have adjusted to the night, right? Or if you're in the middle of a dark building, we'll say, and your cones and rods have acclimated and you've got that natural night vision that you accrue over like 40 minutes or 30 minutes of sitting in the darkness. Ray doesn't have that. He's been driving through the streets of Sydney. There's downlights, there's street lights, there's car lights, and you can even see the lot here he's in. Like, look at the shadow under the car. This is an immensely bright light. So Ray has no night vision. His eyes has not acclimated to the dark. You get what I mean? So it's not that I acknowledge this is a really nitpicky pushback or nitpicky like, oh, actually, I disagree. But I just don't think it's the main reason, as a good infantry friend here, RAR Dingo, says. It's just sort of one of these, hey, let's consider the sort of second order or consider the deeper level of thinking here, right? So, yeah, night vision maybe, but A, did he have night vision? B, has he demonstrated at any other point that he was firing using the stock from the shoulder with aimed fire using his sights? No. So I think both those 2 facts kind of point to this is just how he likes shooting this damn gun. And I don't think that his night vision was the main factor. Is this a thing in other circumstances outside this exact case study? Yes. Chat, what do we say? Up. CSRC, do you reckon the F88 is somewhat better than the EF88? For some reason, the simplicity of the F88 with a GLA tickles my fancy over a black EF88. Well, better. I'll tell you what, I hate that the EF88 is black. I've ranted about that before. That's a massive downgrade to go from, they did something so bold. They made the service rifles khaki and beige in the SA2s. F88 SA2s, that is, and then they took a step back and made them black again, insanity. And there was also a thing where when the EF88s first came in, the black magazines were worse than the old school magazines. And that's a fact. I can't remember if there was something ended up being done about this. There was something insane, I think, about, I might be getting confused with a gun here. I'm working off memory, boys, so don't quote me. The color change being black literally messed up some production process at Lithgow, and that compromised some manner of mold injection or whatever they do when they're making a polymer gun like the EF88, right? And there was something to do with the mags got less reliable. That's simple terms. I'll put it down to that. I think I'm mixing those facts up, to be honest. I think now that I've said it aloud, the polymer changing color thing, that was to do with the gun, but the mags separate, they just weren't as reliable as the old khaki Steyr magazines, and then F88 Steyr magazines. There were just more problems when we first got the EF88. So yeah, I didn't appreciate that, I'll tell you that much. But aside from that, it was, I think, an upgrade for the most part, right? Some funky changes to it, but yeah, it still is. I would consider it still an upgrade. Just a bloke, mate. If I recall correctly, DPD was CT along DPNU. I feel bloody harsh now. Yes, I watched that video for... Okay. Joel Dalton, is this Mr. Inbetween? Sure is. The Great Missouri never surrenders. Camarian fodder versus Missourian, who's winning? Considering Superfly said I haven't shot guns at night, pretty much can validate his point. Yeah, potentially. Eyes adjust quickly. I don't think it's that quickly, man. Like to get the true acclimated. Again, you get this lesson at like basic training. It's one of these weird ones they decide to teach you in great detail, how your retina and cones and rods inside your cornea and shit like shrinks and contracts to adjust to the darkness, and how if you don't look at the exact spot you want to see, you look slightly offset to it. I don't think it's that quick. This is an insane argument because you've just said eyes adjust quickly. I don't know what that means. By quickly, you could mean 5 hours, you could mean 5 minutes, so I'm just going to shut up. He didn't ADS because he had Steady Aim Pro, of course. CS, can you give my girl Val a shout out because she watches your... hang on, is this one of these things that I'm going to get tripped up on? Watches your ADF iceberg videos like a ritual every day. I'm passing like the words with my eyes to make sure I'm not going to do one of these, you know, say a cancelable word because you guys are stitching me up with like fake names. Like surname Cider, first name Dixon, one of these sort of things. Can you give my girl Val a shout out? Hello Val. Hope you enjoy the video. Is that what... No one's ever asked for a fucking shout out before, so I don't know what to do. I'm bloody blushing. I'm glad you enjoy it, thanks. My only issue with the F88 was the trigger. Yeah, true. To be fair, I don't think the EF88 has any better a trigger. Lithgow sometimes messes up a bunch occasionally their production processes, according to one of my mates from Lithgow. Well, that's bloody not good to know. Hi, Val. Hi, Val. Everyone say hi, Val. Dub's in the chat for Val. I don't know what a dub is, but do that. Next slide, boys. Got a bit more on the Patchett. Wayne Hayden, 7960, says... When Ray loads the Patchett, he racks the bolt and loads the magazine, therefore not chambering around. So a bit of just, and I'm not picking on Wayne Hayden here, because I was going to include this in the video. I chopped a lot out of this script, man. There was a lot more in here that didn't make the final edits. I think overwhelmingly for the better, but just so there was other little not nitpicky, but other little details in. So Patchett is open bolt weapon, right? So you can see, hi, I'm Ian McCollum over here from Forgotten Weapons with his Sterling at the range, but has the same mechanism, or sorry, the same firing mechanism. So you don't chamber around before you fire it. It fires with the bolt to the rear, and we've got the M10 or M11, can't remember which one, which, Mac 10, the chopper, I believe you call this. You lock the bolt to the rear, and you release the trigger. The bolt flies forward, slams forward, chambers, and fires all in one motion. Gas blowback, sends the bolt back, extracts, ejects. If automatic, repeat, slams forward again, strips round from the magazine, slams forward, chambers, and fires all in one motion. Right, so you don't chamber around before firing it, or certainly the, what would you call it? What do the Americans call it? Manual of arms. What do we call it? Cycle of operations, right? Sorry, the manual of arms is like how you go through the stages of weapon conditions. Cycle of operations in terms of how the weapon, well, cycles. You don't do that, or the Patchett doesn't work like that, the Sterling. You lock it to the rear, the bolt stays open, and it goes bop, 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 and if you've still got ammo in the magazine, the bolt will stay back. If you run out of ammo in the magazine, the bolt will slam forward because there's not another round in there to gas blow back the bolt rearwards and lock it to the rear again. So just a little thing here, like machine guns, you guys will have been in, right? Like machine guns commonly work on bolt to the rear, same thing. So they don't fire from a chambered, as in they don't insert, lock, and then you can walk around with a round in the chamber. Machine guns typically have the bolt locked to the rear for cooling purposes, and also prevents a, what do you call it, like a cook-off, right? So say your rifle, your M4 or your Steyr, you can action it. In Australian terminology, that's what we'd call it. The Americans conditioned whatever. We have a round in the chamber. Typically machine guns, you don't want to have a system like that because machine gun barrels or chambers get very hot. And if you insert a round into one of these extremely hot chambers, it can just self-fire through the heat alone. So in weapons like machine guns, you also have them with the bolt locked to the rear. Samesies with the Sterling submachine gun and quite a few other submachine guns as well. Get what I mean? So Wayne, just bit of trivia there for you, mate. Up. Chat. Chat. Hi, Val. Like about a few thousand, binge the series in 2 days. Girl once said 3 minutes was quick, so I think that's what he means. Like Bernie Gore. You getting me? Is this a name? I'm not reading that. I'm scared. You cunnies are going to stitch me up with these haram names and get me saying all kind of nonsense. Refuse. Wayne Hayden learns about open bulk subguns. Hi Val with a dub. Just a bloke, mate. Nice. My girlfriend's going to be jolly jumping golly when she sees this stream. CSRC, generally my favorite YouTuber of all time. Bloody stop it, mate. I'm bloody going to blush. I reckon CSRC should begin doing real life videos if he's ever comfortable with that. Nothing in particular, just random shenanigans. Look, maybe there'll come a day when I chuck my face on here. For the most part, I'm glad I don't, because in the game streams, it's just me jumping out of my chair like a little girly man every 30 seconds. It's not scary at all games. So I think I just look like another sausage. So I'm kind of happy just having the bloody face off. And let's watch the PowerPoint here. Right? Let's bloody look at this. I think the Americans call it freedom. Yeah, pain. I started watching Mr. Inbetween. Good man, blue boy. I've seen a cook-off with a machine gun. It's not pretty. YouTube failed to notify me of this stream. What's new? Krieg43. Welcome, my man. Welcome back. Unsure, man. It sucks you don't get the notification. I put out like 2 community post notifications as well, because I noticed or people have been telling me that the notifications suck. So I've been just doing the text posts to give reminders. I reckon CSRC is a 6'10" jacked strong chin. Strong chin. What's strong chin? Oh, literal strong chin. No, man, just old, fat, hairy, grey, fucking feet like a troll. Need I go on? Next slide. Patchett continued. Chris Brent, 7487 says, when Ray's given his automatic birthday present and he says it's a Sterling and he's told no, it's a Patchett. The Patchett Sterling and L2A3 are the same thing. Patchett designed it and Sterling made it. Patchett's original weapon fed from standard Lanchester mags, and this is a modified... I didn't go into all this detail in the video, but I said a very short sentence, words to this effect, right? The Sterling with the curved 34-round double feed mag with the rollers. Same magazine, incidentally, as the F1 SMG. I would have thought they would have gotten that right. So, putting aside Chris Brent's history lesson on the Patchett and the Sterling, it's the whole scene is curious to me. The whole scene of Gary and Ray here is interesting, and I'm curious what you guys think. Chat, that is. The whole him doing the Patchett thing, it's weird to think about, and the only thing I can come up with is that Gary knows it's a Patchett. With that being said, to further muddy the waters, I don't think it actually is a Patchett. I tried to for this stream. I was doing some scrolling, but you don't really get a clear view of it. I think it is a Sterling. I don't actually even think it is a Patchett, as in a Gen 1 Sterling. I was watching the Forgotten Weapons video where he's got a side-by-side of the Patchett and the Sterling, and he had it up there, and he's like, well, you can see here of them. But there's one part that Ian shows there that I think, to me, solidifies as a Sterling. There's a gap between is there another picture somewhere? Gap between the bolt recess here and the gap between the magazine. On the Patchett is very, 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 very thin. But then on the Sterling, it's quite thicker. So they increased the width here just for a bit of strength, right? Because it was a weak point in the whole frame. So I think this one here, maybe there's another picture, another slide. I think it is a Sterling. But putting that aside, it's just a weird conversation, right? And it's one of these things. Why even go into this level of detail? And I suppose the only reason I can think of now that we're saying it aloud is I think it's just character development for Gary. We're getting a sense of this is a Crim who, to use my own words in the video, is a amateur historian, likes World War II, and has a penchant for pop culture and history. So I think it's just world building and character building, and whether or not he's right or wrong, I think is less important than that this conversation even happens. So it's a weird one. It's interesting. So to Chris's point here, I would have thought they would have gotten that right. Man, I'm not sure they meant to get it right. To be frank, I don't know what they were going for here. But I think that makes it interesting, right? Which maybe I'm being a bit contradictory because I'm glazing the accuracy of the show the whole time, and here's me just saying oh no, it doesn't matter in this case. But it is genuinely intriguing, and I don't have any good answers. So what do you boys think? Chat. Up. Also, CS, Great Northern, 4X or VB. Man, I'm going to have to go Great Northern. I was sick for a bloody Great Northern. Yeah, Great Northern over those. Out of those 3, Great Northern, 100%. Great Northern's bloody good to go. All good Missouri supporters are. Quit it, you silly muzzo. We beat you many times. Is this like Camaria versus Missouri in the chat now? Is that what's happened? Has the vibe of a northern enjoyer while secretly preferring VV. You bloody caught me. The Patchett is a weird choice for him, in my opinion. I reckon an Owen would be more recognisable for him over a weird-looking Patchett. Hell, even an L1A1 SLR. That's a good point too. I think an Owen would have been a super iconic choice for this. And then he could have leaned into the World War II thing even more, like bloody won us Kokoda, this sort of thing, right? Like they used it up until Vietnam. So yeah, this is one of those things. Was this the only old school SMG that was available at the time? But again, knowing that it was, what's his name, David Bowering, whose name I mispronounced in the video, this dude has an armory himself, like a literal, an Aladdin's cave of guns wherever he works in Sydney. So I don't know, man. I feel like they could have got something else that they wanted to. Maybe they wanted like an Owen, and this is the closest thing they could get. But I do like your take there, Tansky, that I think an Owen would have been a better choice. Damn, the SLR has a kick to it. Honestly, that wouldn't fit. Plus, it's semi-auto, and action shows tend to shy from that unless it's fought or a villain. I think for Gary, he's pretty innocently... Sorry, this is a comment from Mad Mood 2658. I think for Gary, he's pretty innocently correcting him, not trying to sell him that the Patchett is better. Looks like an Ingram. So the correcting him thing, why it's funny is that one part where Ray's like, a Patchett, and he sounds almost disappointed, like, what the fuck's this? This is a Sterling. And then Gary's like, nah, it's not a Sterling, it's a Patchett. And you've got to explain that. So what I was getting at is the Patchett is, if let's assume Gary knows his stuff, or knows what we know, what we're talking about. He knows that the Patchett is the Gen 1 Sterling, arguably the predecessor, therefore not as good in some ways. So when Ray's like, oh, it's a Sterling, he's like, oh, shit. And yeah, like my analogy is if you give a dude like, it's not a great analogy because it doesn't even work at all, but you give a dude a Casio G-Shock and he's like, oh man, this is a Rolex. And you're like, nah, clearly he doesn't know what it is. You're like, nah, it's a Casio. It's better than a Rolex. Won us fucking Vietnam, was in the Gulf War. It's a sick bit of kit. Blow your bloody wrist off. That was just my take. You know what I mean? But I could be wrong. I'm completely speculating on that. SLR 762, bit much for the task. Patchett makes sense to me, but I did think it was a Sterling. I think it doesn't matter where it is or is not a Patchett. Narratively, you get the purpose of the gift, explains the submachine gun's presence, shows the relationship, leans into the interest. True. And it is a tiny difference. Again, interesting to know the truth, but not important to the story. Agreed. I remember when I was 12, I made a cardboard SLR with a GLA. An SLR with an underbarrel. Yep. I don't know in what Half-Life 1-esque world an SLR would have a GLA, but oh well. Man, it's like those SASR, hectic, eclectic SLR from Vietnam when they had those, the 40 mils on them way back. The predecessor being not as good is only technically, and then not always, but he loves history, so the original is classic. True. Honestly, in the world of Inbetween compared to ours, we'd rather have a Patchett compared to any modern rifle nowadays, because at least the Patchett would have a high cap mag with full auto. Casio made sick musical keyboards when I was a kid. Yeah, real true. Casio's like bloody electric keyboards out the arse. Next slide. Range discipline Ray. This is just another good observation here from C. Joba, 6328. The scene where Gary gifts him the submachine gun also shows Ray with range discipline by not loading rounds until Gary is behind him away from where he will be shooting. Classic, just a bit of army or even just general range discipline, right? So, and yeah, you go back and check this out, and sure enough, Gaz goes down, puts the watermelons there, and Ray is just standing here patiently, and as soon as Gary comes back in line, then he loads the gun. So, this is one of those things, yeah, if he was an army man guy, former army dude, who'd be heavily indoctrinated from range safety, but it's also just probably good range safety on the part of the armorers in the show as well, because I believe that all the Patchett scenes were blank firing. I don't think they were CGI. That's just me going off the visuals and the sound. If it is CGI, incredible work. But I'm led to believe, I think, that it's blank firing. So they would still have safety protocols for blank firing, stuff like this, and I suppose they're more strict on it now. Thanks, Alec Baldwin, for ruining guns in Hollywood and, murdering a lady. That was pretty bad too. I think the worst thing was the hypocrisy, really. Okay. Comments. I do think the point was made that with Aussie laws, different guns would have been harder to grab. No, out-of-universe restrictions tend to give in-universe story weirdness credence. True. Yeah, that's fair enough. His finger is in the right place. Yeah, bloody trigger finger discipline. Go Ray. Next. Lucas Estrella 16 says, hey, I absolutely love the video. It's a great dissection of his Inbetween. Thanks. Just wanted to comment saying the mic seems to peak whenever you pronounce an S. I had to turn the volume down lower than usual. I wonder why you say saw instead of so. Two parts here. So yeah, I speak with a sibilance. So sorry, because now I'm trying to not do it, but I'm what's the word? Aware of it. So I have like these S's that sound, well, sharp. Very annoying. I also think that my microphone is making it worse because the microphone I use in these streams with you guys, this is just like my headset Razer gaming thing. As in, it's got the little boom mic that sits in front of my mouth hole, and I've got the headphones on. When I record for the tactical analysis videos, I've got a bit more of a G-Wiz microphone. It's not uber fancy, it's a Samsung something or other. At the time, I was pretty much like, what's a low to mid-range microphone that's good enough for YouTube narration, and got this one. But yeah, man, I think it's making it worse because I've tried every trick in the book to reduce this. There's stuff you can do in Audacity, which to the uninitiated is a audio editing software. Audio editing is a whole other kettle of fish. I have a newfound respect for sound engineers and sound designers. Fucking nightmare. And I just can't really tune the sharp S's out of my scripts, my dialogue. So apologies. I can't help it. It's the way I speak, really. But I'm trying to fix it as much as I can in post-production. My next step, because I'm at my wit's end in terms of fixing it at the editing end, I'm going to get another microphone. There's got to be some microphone that is tuned or pitched or whatever for this style or the way I speak. So I'm going to try to do that. Think about when you notice this too, you get really like self-conscious about any words with S. So I find myself when I'm typing the script, I'll be like, Ray was serious about the Patchett, and I'll be like, oh, don't use that word because it's got a big S in it. So I'll be like, Ray was hectic about the Patchett, stuff like this. But yeah, anyway, it's really bad too. If you go back and watch my Helm's Deep video, honestly, that was the first time I even became aware of it because there was a bunch of comments in the Helm's Deep video that were like, the S's are so loud, I can't listen to this. This video is good, but it sucks because you talk funny. And no one had ever told me. I'm an old man, and no one had been like, hey man, you like S's sound really sharp. I guess I'd never had much time in front of a microphone before. So yeah, that's just, it's the way I speak, but I am trying to fix it through, well, production means. This one here, sort of adjacent, but I wonder why you say saw instead of so. I didn't get this at first. I think this is like the, Australian say no, right? That's what we're going for here. I just wonder why you say saw instead of so. So Ray is so silly. Do I really sound like that? Ray is so silly. Oh, fuck me dead. For real? Ray Shoesmith is so silly. So silly. Ray is so silly. No. Yeah, fuck this guy, man. Do we really sound like that? Anyway, it reminds me of this meme here. This is from old internet. I don't remember where this comes from, but this cracks me up every time. There's someone speak Python here. The programming language. Ooh. Okay, chat. Let me scroll up. Sorry, boys. Finger in the right Eric Boren. Yeah, real. I believe all the Patchett scenes were blank firing. At first I thought, well, duh, before you continued, and not CGI. I'd completely forgotten CGI existed for a second. I'm sold, yeah. Yeah, they chopped the barrel before the gas block and replaced some parts of L1A2 or L2A1. Yeah, I know. Oh, the SAS, the bitch, they call that thing, right? I'm an audio, here we go. Taylor, give me some tips then, my man. Taylor Pine says, I am an audio engineer. EQ is helpful. You can use an EQ or a de-esser to minimize the frequencies that harsh. Bro, I've messed with this. I've watched countless YouTube tutorials on Audacity, and I've done the de-esser things, like both the plugins and the manual way. I just can't I can't cut it out. It's fucking infuriating. And as you know, like sound design, audio engineer is its own whole discipline as well. So it's one of these things like diminishing returns. I don't want to spend more time away from video editing and learning and trying to get better at video editing on messing around with sound as well. So, man, you know, it's not that bad, brother. Don't worry. I appreciate you, man. No, I just thought I'm not like self-conscious gonna bloody rope about it. It's just come up in a few comments now, so I was like, oh yeah, this is what it is. It's okay. I like your funny words, Australia man. Thank you, Riley. Appreciate you. Mr. Inbetween certainly does have wonderful weapon casting. It strikes a chord with me for some reason. Crim's getting what they can in a world that isn't Glocks, AR-15s, and the occasional Draco US, says Mr. Man 7579. What's next? CS, if you had to choose to remove one gun forever between the... Remove one forever between the EF88, Minimi, SLR, SR98, and Lee Enfield, what would you remove forever? Because me personally, I'd remove the SR98 because those guns are precious. What do you mean remove? Like wipe it from existence and I can never use it again? Or like erase it from the history books? Because these four EF... I'm pointing at the chat with my mouse like you guys can see it. I'm dumb, sorry. The EF88, Minimi, SLR, SR98 are more of the same era. SLR admittedly removed than the Lee Enfield, right? So, I don't know. If this is like I get 4 and I don't get 1, then yeah, I don't want the Lee Enfield. I want the other 4. No. I never noticed you distressing the word so I suppose that so means doesn't mean you don't. Now you got to force the sorrow to sound like that. God damn it, Lucas, you made CS stress over his microphone. Nah, I'm good, boys. We all suffer and prosper at the hands of our accent, CSRC. I'm actually kind of clueless to where the Coral's search username comes from. For some reason I was convinced he was a Navy lad rather than an Army lad. No, so it was just Coral Sea Raiding Company was the tongue-in-cheek nickname for, at the time when I was still in 2RL, when we were still doing a lot of amphibious stuff. They still are. And it was just one of these piss take kind of things, like, because we used to just hang out in bloody, what's that island? There's an island off Townsville, and obviously a lot of ships and all that, you sail through the Coral Sea whenever you're getting aboard one of the Navy boats, right? So you're off the northeast coast of Australia in the Coral Sea, and a lot of the training at the time was doing what they termed limited scale raids. I have no idea why it was limited scale raids, what the difference is between a raid or a full scale raid and a limited scale, I don't know, but that was the specific terminology for the training we were doing. We're training limited scale raids. So that's what was going on at the time, so it just became Coral Sea Raiding Co. Again, just like a piss take, self-deprecating, cool guy, skits guy, over the top, hard charging, like, nickname that was, to be frank, only shared between probably like 10 to 15 dudes in the sniper cell. So it wasn't some super like unit broad thing, to be clear. Like if you asked a dude in 2RR now, they wouldn't have any idea what's going on. That was just a little microcosm of the subculture of the unit kind of thing. Get what I mean? Certain D Edison. That's not like a secret who the fucking what CSRC stand for. Because if you look on like the website, it's right there and all this sort of shit. But it's just I don't know. I started this as CSRC and like I have no reason to change it. But now I'm just leaning more into CSRC as an acronym than the full fleshed out full name, if that makes sense, because it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? The CSRC is just the brand name. I'm happy with it. Those 4 letters, I like that 4-letter combination. So that's really the face of the brand now. I never noticed this S issue. Certain DSs you can go so hard on, so it sounds like you lisp. Erase it from existence. Wish it would come. Yeah, 303 then. Magnetic Island, yeah, Magnetic Island, thank you. And Rattlesnake Island as well. Rattlesnake Island, because you do live fire and blank fire in Rattlesnake. You're off your head. Iceland, you silly like who said Iceland? Hot hop ploink, madman. Limited scale, soft skin at the most. Once my niece gains consciousness, I'm making her watch all CSRC videos. Okay, next slide. Hipfire bad. Per Pen, what's this dude's comment? I'm leaning into the screen. Pen V Zilla says, interesting, so not aiming your firearms is considered realistic in Australia. So this is shade, I believe, as you would call it. Old Pen V Zilla here is having a dig. Always happens. I generally don't give like having a dig comments Because, well, why? Like someone's there just being a bloody butthole. Why give them the time of day? It's not like you're going to engage in a good faith debate or argument with them in the comment section. But why this one I thought was interesting is because one of the images I used in the video, this one right here, in fact, it's US Army, bro. So, you know what I mean? This isn't some isolated fringe Australian tactic that no one else has ever done, much less our comrades in the mighty US military. It's a technique that was, for a time, might even still be, I don't know. This is obviously an older US Army manual. This is probably like the old M4 pamphlet based on this chap's uniform being UCP, sorry, ACU. Is camo being UCP? I'd wager this is from the early to mid-thousands. Hell, mid-thousands, probably a better guess, which again lines up with Ray, his face here in the background, his service time frame. So still very much on vogue for the US Army at the same time. Not strange for it to be then part of Mr. Australian Army's man's shooting skills, techniques, we'll say as well. So yeah, man, it's weird shade because this is like, oh, Australians suck because we don't have guns, which is a take. Some might argue a right one, a correct one. But yeah, it's just a wrong take because, I don't know, the point I was making was in the show, why it's realistic is because that's how he would have been trained in the Australian Army. Man here seems to be saying that's dumb because that's not what happens, but I don't know. Here we go. Pen v Zilla. This your boy. Come get him. Chat. Did he even watch the video? Counterpoint, Arnold tip for Arnold is skits, man. Arnold's the best. I've loved it since day one, even the magician, that gorgeous end kill. That's on Nigel McDargan's life. I've rewinded, I just got here. Jason Larson, the Danish Greek. Skits username, man. Welcome to the chat. Bit of a flog, I see. Yep. We also do this in the German army. There you go. Hot hop ploink. Especially in close quarters, fighting despite having a red dot. Interesting. The amount of people who can passively absorb media in either writing, audio, or visual form is stunning. Saint, people are remarkably bad at understanding what is writing. Oh, can't. The amount of people who can't passively absorb media in either writing, audio, or visual form. Yeah, that's a fair point too, because I do see a lot of what I would consider, again, circling the screen here, just shade or like snooty, poopy pants comments. It seems like they haven't watched the video, which is just furthermore reason to not get in a YouTube comment section argument with them, because they're not going to go back and watch the video at your prompting and arguing with the point they're making when they haven't seen your case is just insanity. So yeah, that's Tansky raises a good, Azia raises a good point here that I feel a lot of negative comments, not all, but certainly some negative comments, I feel like people don't even watch the bloody video. Like maybe see the title or watch the intro and then just start slapping down kind of takes like this. But to be fair, he had to get some way into it to see the point about hip fire. But yeah, anyway. My grandfather, God rest his soul, used to be convinced he knew the Melon Man because he had schizophrenia. I think he misheard the Marung nickname from Vietnamese. What the fuck? Is that for real? So in this manifestation of the Melon Man, because I always heard two variations of the Melon Man. Melon Man was a nickname for a Sasquatch, a Yowie type creature, as in like a lost, what's that study? Cryptozoology, right? Like a Yowie, a Yeti, a Squatch. A big old Squatch down here. A jungle Squatch entirely. Or that the Melon Man was literally like a nuts Vietnam veteran who lived in the jungle. I always heard both. I never once got a clear take. Oh shit, the chat's scrolling faster than I can read. Oh, good grief. Okay, how did Ray not realise that Tubbo was alive prior to bringing down the butcher knife? Yeah, that's funny. In fairness, the Germans aren't exactly known for their warfare. What the fuck? The cake makers, car makers, and as such, I understand it. Marung sounds like melon, just with Asian accent. What? I can't say that. Marung sounds like melon, just with an Asian accent. Either trolling or low IQ. Pseudo-experts thinking no one ever learned to shoot without sights and CQC. It's weird. Blitzkrieg. Oh god, I missed the first hour to the other vaguely Military Aussie PowerPoint man, guess I'll contribute to both live viewers and VOD views later. Oh, thanks, man. I'm guessing you're referring to Perron, who's another Australian YouTube man. He's yeah, he does much more professional stuff than me. I'll bloody say that. Professional hitman and ex-mil would surely be checking to see if they're dead. Oh, you're talking about the Russian brother-in-law? Yeah, for sure. Look, I didn't really delve into that scene because it didn't really involve that much. Actually, you know what? I did consider it because it showed that they headshot the dude, right? And they think he's dead, but he's not, which I think is very plausible for that little gun he pops him with. God, I can't remember. But yeah, that was actually another example of something I didn't dive into it deep in my research, but I had it dot pointed out in my script, like, hey, the headshot and our bullets don't always kill people when you hit him in the head. Very true. Very real. Yeah, but they were still teaching, Josh Mosby says, they were still teaching instinctful firing when I was in as late as 2014. Like if you yell contact before putting something down range, you get chewed out for it. Yeah, true. The Germans aren't known for their warfare. Never a true statement. Never heard of him. Nobody's taught to shoot from the hip. Was just a fun photo. Yep, it's propaganda. Riley says, I've been taught some tucked under the armpit shooting with shotgun by older cops, not necessarily something you should do today, but as a relic of the time. Yeah. Assault fire, I believe, was a term used. Interesting. Soldiers in Ukraine hip fire more than they aim. He's a famous cake maker. Man, I miss Yowie chocolates. Yeah, what happened to Yowie chocolates? Yowie chocolates was like our version, our being Australia, our version of Kinder. You know, the Kinder eggs. You get the little bloody Swiss chocolate. It's the orange and white wrapper, and then you get a little toy inside, the little egg. We had a thing called Yowie chocolates. I wonder if that's still around. Stuff those. I miss those all fruit bars they put in the MREs. Hot says, to be fair, I would usually aim, but folding G36 stock and pressing the back of the... folding stock, true. Kind of adds a different dynamic to it. Or it adds a difference to this conversation about hip fire. Folding G36 stock and pressing the back of the rifle into your chest and aiming with your body is astonishingly accurate out to 25 meters or so. True. Yeah, the folding stock, I think, changes the viability, or adds, I would argue, to the viability of hip firing as a taught technique. They still got the all fruit bars and the CR1Ms, if I recall correctly, or I just got an old run. Not a clue. Okay, next slide, boys. Barry Bazza. BL5533 says, can you also do a video on the gun tactics of HBO's Barry? William Lydon 2554 says, is this show just Australian? Barry, this is Barry, the show. I've seen clips of Barry. I've never seen it. So I guess this is me for Mr. Inbetween for many other people. All the people in the comments of my video who haven't seen Mr. Inbetween, but just seen the clips. That's me with Barry. I've just seen clips from this. So I can't do a video on it because I haven't seen it. And is this show just Australian Barry? Is he's insinuating it's a copycat? No, because they came out the exact same year. So I would find it hard pressed that Scott Ryan, pictured here, who also released his full-length feature film of the same character, Ray Shoesmith the Magician, in 2005, copied Barry, which released in 2018. So again, if that is an insinuation that it's a copycat show, that is not the case. On that note, though, I did see an interview with Bill Hader. That's his name, right? Funny mofo. This cat in... I think one of my favourite Bill Haders is in Superbad. Just when he's in the cop and he's riffing with... Is it Seth Rogen? And he's doing like the Star Wars impressions and all that. Like, he's good in Superbad, man. Yeah, I saw this clip and he's doing it was like an interview. And he was talking about behind the scenes on Barry. And there's some scene where they shoot up a car. Like, he shoots a dude through the windshield. And he was having a conversation with like the effects dudes. And he was like, hey, I wanted to sound really realistic. I wanted to sound like Heat, you know, like do like what they did in Heat. And they were like, oh, no, we can't do that. And he was like, no, do it. It sounds sick. And they were like, no, we have to do like the after dialogue recording and all. And I think the gist of the conversation was he wanted it to sound like Heat and use the actual recorded gunfire from the blanks in the scene, shot on location. But the pushback he got was like, if we do that, you're pretty much putting us, I guess being the sound designers or whatever, out of a job. So no, we're not going to do that. And he was like, oh, okay, fair enough. So interesting that Bill Hader was perhaps pushing for some more realism in some of these gunplay things and faced a bit of, I suppose, pushback. So interesting there. Again, I haven't even seen the show. I've just seen that interview and that clip. So I don't know. What do you boys reckon? Anyone seen Barry? How's it go? How's it go compared to Mr. Inbetween? From my impression based on just the clips I've seen, it certainly seems a bit more light-hearted. I don't think it would go into as darker, deeper place as Mr. Inbetween does. That's just my takeaways. I'm speculating based on just my vibe of the tone of the show. Comments. Yowie Chocks are still around. Happy. They sell them on the little rows at the checkouts. Dude, Barry is lit, says Riley. A demo of Hipfire versus sighted accuracy in the ranges in the scene would have been a good addition to the video. Yeah, true. I was kind of speculating on the ranges though, so it probably would have been helpful. I wasn't even super confident on, like, I think I said 25 meters or maybe 15 meters or whatever, but like judging distance through, not through a camera, but on say a video or an image is very difficult because you just don't know, what the, not aspect ratio, what it's called, like the depth of field or the focal length and the lens and all this stuff. So it's just weird, man. Distances in games and movies and shows, they just don't, it's not the same as when you're looking at something with your real senses, your eye. Barry's genuinely sick as F. Barry Blockman. Mr. Man says, Barry has some of the worst gunplay and gun audio I've ever seen. Real. Comically quiet suppressors and unsuppressed guns, it sounds like airsoft. Oh, that's interesting. He's one of the guys who came up with South Park's Gay Fish episode. Actually, you know what? Now that you mention it, I think my favorite Bill Hader is that behind the scenes South Park where it's him in the audio booth and they're recording the Steamy Ray Vaughan. He just gets up on stage and shits his britches. What for? This fella down the bowling alley, he's Steamy Ray Vaughan. And it's him and I think Trey Parker just boosting themselves laughing. That is, I think, one of the funniest Bill Hader clips going around. Up. I've only seen dorks praising Barry for shooting some Afghani civilians on a TikTok comment section. Context is Barry sees an Afghani run into his home after his mate gets shot and assumes it's him. That's actually the first, Riley says, first or second episode when he lights up the car. It still turned out to be a good scene. Tansky says, Barry can be really unrealistic though, sometimes with his gunplay and other martial tactics. Barry's more comedy than drama. Seth Rogen, yep, he was hilariously interacting with McLovin. Evening Fabs chat. Hey, Ruse. How you doing, my man? It doesn't really focus on drama, gotcha. So it's tonally very different to Mr. Between. I'm going to wrap up around for him because I reckon I have a busy day. You bloody get to sleep. So the first 80% of Barry is pretty comedic. This is comment, chat from Riley Newsom. The last probably 5 or so episodes takes a really serious dramatic turn. It was never absent serious tone at all, but really turned it up in the end. Interesting, okay. Look, I might get around to it. It's, I don't know, not super high up on my to-watch list, but I do like Bill Hader, I'll say that. So maybe I'll give it a bloody tickle. Next. Redtail Fox 1 says, the most realistic part of all though, Gary putting up the watermelons and telling them to stay. Everyone in Australia has been guilty of that XD. Probably not Australia. I assume everyone in the world does this, right? I'm curious what chat. Is this a thing? You put something up like that, like Gary in the show, putting the watermelons, I'm gesturing with my hands like you guys can see me. Put the watermelons on the fence and doing like, stay. And then there was another comment under this actually. I should have copied a few more. The other one, it's like when you ratchet strap down the trailer, you do that. That's bloody not going anywhere. And I think someone else said as well, the barbecue tongs. If you're grilling, as my American comrades would say, if you're on the bloody barbie and you got the tongs, you give them the 2 clicks before you get to fucking work, flipping the snags. That's just the rules, right? So yeah, you got to tap the watermelons and say stay. You've got to click the tongs. You got to say like, yep, that's not bloody going anywhere when you're doing up the trailer. What are some other examples? I think those 3 were in this comment thread. It gave me a good little chuckle. Let me read chat real quick. I guess it's just more insulting, Mr. Man says, because it's made by obvious Hollywood anti-gunners that openly hate guns but still use them in the show. Yeah, true. So if this is a live Q&A question from Taylor Pint, which bloody sounds like a bit... the commas there at Q&A, I'm feeling a bit attacked. It's like a confrontational start to the question. So if this is a live Q&A, like allegedly, it's like, this is allegedly live Q&A, but you're not doing a very good job of it. What is your favourite shooter game at the moment? I'm loving Ghost Recon Wildlands at the moment. I also enjoy Armory Forger. To answer your question, Taylor, I'm playing Ghost Recon Old School at the moment for my other live streams, which I stream every Sunday and Wednesday. And I'm liking the old Ghost Recon games. But man, I'm just losing my mind. And the other bros who watch, I think bloody Riley's in there, Ruse is in there too. Man, it drives me nuts. The friendly AI is just so bad. And so it kind of just really, you'll be trying to do this hectic, super tactical, play it real milsim style. And then there's just bots, man. Like the friendly teammates are just absolute clankers. And you can't trust them further than you can throw them. So it's just a super frustrating experience, but I really do like the game. But funny you mentioned Ghost Recon Wildlands because I'm actually thinking of switching up to that next. Like, weirdly, I just saw they released a patch for it or something like the last week. And I was like, oh, it might be a good chance to get into it. And I've never played any of the new gen Ghost Recon games. I stopped it. Man, I want to say, not the OGs, like 2001 was the OG. Maybe one of the Advanced Warfighter ones or something like this. Graw. But yeah, I never did Wildlands and I never did whatever the sequel to that was. I can't remember. The one with, hey, let me ask you something. What's his name? Let me ask you something, Red. Punisher Man. I forget. Anyway, I've never played those two, so I'm thinking of doing Ghost Recon Wildlands next. The second reason to that, it's more of I'll admit, it's a YouTube gamification reason, but the videos, the VODs from Ghost Recon Old School look like shit. Because it's hard enough for me to see, like when I'm playing the game, what is going on, and just the visual clarity in these old games is really, really bad, particularly the rural or the field or the bush levels. So anyone, it's not like, because I go back and I watch some of my own streams, you know, I try and pick up on idiosyncrasies, stuff I say, try and just frankly speak better, right? And I'm watching the video, I'm like, this looks like shit. Like, I can't see a thing. So these old games, particularly old first-person shooter games, they don't make for a nice viewing experience. So I'm sitting there watching this like, man, this sucks. Like, I wouldn't want to watch this, and I was the one playing it. So one of the other reasons I want to get to a newer game. Rant aside here. Sorry, moving on with chat. Up. Oh, buddy, I swore at and talked to inanimate objects like a dozen times at work this week. The small island south of Iceland, right? You got to test the tongs. What if they're not working? Just join the stream. Never actually put anything down like that. But if I did, yeah, I'd say that. Clicking the tongs is to grilling what press checks are to shooting guys. Real. Mr. Man says, Barry has its moments, but for gun guys, not so much. Mr. Inbetween is everything Barry isn't. Another thing, this humor is pretty obvious American humor. It's like gun safety, but for tongs. Picking something up and testing the weight of it by likely tossing it up is another one. I just thought of another one. Finishing like an empty plastic water bottle, usually a bigger one, like a 1.5 litre. The smaller ones work, but not as good. Like an empty 1.5 litre water bottle, or hell, even like a 600ml Coke bottle, something like this, and you go dunk dunk, and you tap it on your forehead. You hold it by the cap, and you tap the empty water bottle on your forehead. You have to do that. Is that just me? Does anyone else do that? That's got to be one of these like bloke rules as well. For context, gun laws in Iraq are very lax. You could just find a PKM off a neighbour and rent it. Skits. Not meant to be confrontational. Nah, I'm just highly paranoid, man. I've just a few beverages, so my typing is off. There's the one. How you going? Yeah, of course. I scrolled too far. Classic odds of reflex. My dad friend who lives there straight up owns. Oh, nice. Yeah, that new patch for Wildlands is fantastic. Skits, I'll probably give it a go, man. What's the next video be? A good video could be Mad Max's Citadel, either taking it or holding against the war party. Man, I'll be honest, I haven't decided yet. I was reading through, and I'm not just keeping secrets. You'll have to stream, watch me to find out. I don't know. I was looking through I have a Word doc, sort of some of my ideas, just my brainstorm list. I was looking through today. I did a bit of tentative research into a few of the ideas, but I didn't come away with like, oh yeah, I've got this narrowed down. Oh, look, I'll tell you actually for free. One thing I did look into that I thought sort of maybe was Yonkers, as in World War Z. Battle of Yonkers, World War Z. But why I sort of then steered away from it was because I just did effectively zombies in the last one. Ice zombies with magic from, I almost said Dawn of the Dead, Game of Thrones, but still really zombies. So I'm like, I don't want to back up with another zombies one. I'll kind of space it out a bit. So I'll probably won't do that, but that was one I was looking into. Okay, up. Oh my god. New story DLC for Wildlands. It was very, very short. Was forgettable, but the gameplay was fun. Nice. Just finished Future Soldier and also pick up Wildlands soon. Just turn the HUD off and play it like Metal Gear Solid. John Bernthal or something. That's the one. That's the chap. Would be fun to see CSRC do a Half-Life video. Half-Life was my favourite series growing up, so it would be fun to see Half-Life 2, Rebels, or Combine verse. Oh, sorry, like make a video on Half-Life. 4-Hour Commandos, problem is futuristic guns. Yeah, Half-Life though, man, there's the map is insane. Again, I get lots of good ideas like this from guys. My biggest pushback is it's a visual design challenge. How do I make a map of Half-Life, right? And then show my little blue and red dots and shit moving around on it. So, like, I can't obviously do the entire Black Mesa facility, the world's biggest hidden government research facility. The bonk bonk after finishing is a key moment of the drinking experience. Yeah, true. Riley gets it. Did that earlier today. The dunk dunk was premium. So we've got bonk bonk from Riley and dunk dunk from Just a Bloke, mate. But everyone knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, empty bottles. The thick soda bottles. Exactly, though. You're right. You're right. It's better with the Coke bottles because they've got that that thick rim, that girth. It just feels good. Slap it against your head. Pause. I know what you mean. Battle Los Angeles. Oh, Yonkers sounds pretty good. Ooh, slide. Okay. We're getting a bit adversarial here. So this was one of the more, well, upsetting. Not upsetting for me. Let me rephrase that. This was some of the more upset comments I got. And it was all to do with Way of the Gun or my Miami Vice slander, which I, to a degree, did in the video. So let's read through these real quick. Munson's Knight says, and your imbalance to detail in The Way of the Gun is your confidence that you think you understand what was going on with that scene. Que paso, CSRC? Antes eras chévere. I'm being bloody slagged off in Spanish here by the look of it. So I'm guessing some of the weird syntax there is because this is not English, not native English speaker. So I think I'm copping it here in, that's Spanish, right? Que paso, CSRC? Antes era chévere. What's chévere mean? That sounds French to me. Is he calling me cheese? Any Spanish speakers in the chat? Tell me what that means. Aiden1276 says, why are you dissing The Way of the Gun? As soon as you did that, had to drop the video. Very poor take on your end! Exclamation mark, which I read as like he's yelling. Or like he's very melodramatic. Exclamation marks are funny to me in comment sections because it makes you seem like hysterical. That's the way I read that. Very poor take on your end. I'm not slagging off our boy Aiden here. It's just funny how I think grammar has sort of morphed in internet usage versus, I suppose, traditional writing. Jameson Wild says, I'll tolerate no Way of the Gun slander. Luis Vidal, 4690 says, genuinely insane take on the channel owner's side. If Parker and Longbow turned their backs at that scene, they would just be shot in the back. They did exactly what they were supposed to do, and that wasn't the only time the protagonist did something you were actually taught to do in armies around the world. Way of the Gun is an insanely underrated movie. The director's brother was a Navy SEAL and helped direct the choreography of the gun battles. Frito Bandito, that's a cool name. 327 says, really good video, even though I wasn't expecting The Way of the Gun to catch a stray like that. Okay, so let's first get specific with what I said or spoke ill of Way of the Gun. I believe my line was words to the effect of gratuitous tactics for the fringe tactical audience. I think that was the barb that I used to insult Way of the Gun, and then I played this scene here with Ryan Philippe and Benicio del Toro with the slide whistle. So, there's no doubt I'm taking the mick out of it. Because I was. And I'll defend my position. And I'm not shying away from taking the mick out of Way of the Gun. Hear me out, boys. And I talked about this in the planning room too, because Way of the Gun came up in the planning room, and I had a robust conversation with one of the boys. I can't remember who it was. And I was like, let's be just fully objective about this, right? For starters, I wasn't specifically slagging off the entire Way of the Gun movie. I was specifically slagging off this scene here because I think it was a good example of what I said, in that it's you shove ham-fisted gunplay, or if you shove gunplay or shooting or tactics into a movie in a ham-fisted way, it detracts from the film. That's sort of the broader take of what I was getting at. And this scene here in particular that I'm pointing out on screen in Way of the Gun, in my opinion, is fucking excruciating. It does nothing for the movie. it slows down the scene, comes to a grinding halt. And secondly to that, despite what Mr. Sons and Knight, who accuses me of not understanding what is happening here tactically, I disagree, and I disagree with Luis Vidal too, that even tactically it makes sense. I get what they're doing, boys, right? Like in Australian parlance, you would call this a baseline withdrawal. You have one guy move to a position of cover. From there, he is static. He has a stable fire position. He can then orientate back towards the threat and cover or engage if needed. While he is doing that, the other person is moving, leapfrogging in this case, of our three methods of movement, being leapfrog, trail, or three. I can't remember the other one. Caterpillar, yes, leapfrog, trail, or caterpillar, leapfrogging past him to another position of cover and then doing the same. I get it. It's very clever. It's very cool. And this guy's comment here that the director's brother was a Navy SEAL, helped direct the choreography of the gun battle, it makes more sense. So my whole beef with this scene, the only reason you put this scene in your movie and bring your narrative crawling to a halt, grinding to a halt, for the 45 seconds where you have two dudes running up a hallway with pistols going, move, moving, tup, 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 move, moving. The only reason you put that in your movie is so the dudes watching can like slap their wife on the thigh, do the Leo meme, point to the screen and be like, you see what they're doing? That's actually like a Navy SEAL break contact technique. Prove me wrong, boys, or disagree with me, right? It does nothing for the film. So I've got a few takes here. One, this scene, I put it to you, doesn't even make sense tactically. For starters, what's Lewis say here? If Parker and Longbow turn their backs at that scene, they'd just be shot in the back. My man, what's your boy doing over here? They do literally that. So it just doesn't make sense. This whole baseline withdrawal thing, it's not something you would do in a hallway at these distances with pistols. And again, further to the character context, these two dudes are like bodyguards. They have the lady that they're trying to kidnap. They can't shoot her. They're trying to kidnap her. So you're not going to start shooting anyway. There's no incentive for anyone here to start firing. Secondly to that, what this dude says here, you can't turn their backs, they would have been shot. Benicio del Toro immediately turns his back and runs away. This man here, with this gun, could just end Ryan Philippe and then put one in the back of Benicio del Toro's skull. So, part one, tactically, it doesn't even make sense. Secondly, it does nothing for the story and it does nothing for the film. With that being said, the Way of the Gun final shootout, when they're in the, the hacienda, like the Mexican style, they're in Mexico, I think, actually. That's cool. That is a good scene. That has lots of cool, grounded, realistic gunplay. We see Benicio del Toro reload his 1911 like 50 fucking times, which I guess makes sense because, he's got a 7-round mag or whatever. We see Ryan Philippe doing his cool guy, like shotgun top-ups. Everyone remembers that scene when he jumps in the fountain, he gets a little glass all through him. Man, I remember the first time I seen that, like squirming, doing like the ee. The final shootout in this film, very cool. Good use of gunplay without ramming it in your face. This scene here fucking sucks. There, I said it. And to tie this part up, hear me out too here, boys. Way of the Gun, this is one of those films, it's a sacred cow movie. You are not allowed to say that you think Way of the Gun sucks, or this scene, let's say, is a tighter example. This scene sucks if you are in any way adjacent to, what are we talking about here? Which I'm not. I'm not a gun tuber. But if you're just in these circles, right? Like, and again, just talk about comment sections. You have to say Heat is good, because Heat is good. But conversely, Way of the Gun is just that next one. In these conversations, oh man, have you seen Heat? Yeah, I love Heat. Oh bro, it's another good gun movie? Way of the Gun. Yeah, Way of the Gun's sick. I don't think it is. And I think it's just one of these movies you have to say you like is part of like the gun sphere fucking culture. Gun tube or whatever. You get what I mean? But let's be honest with ourselves, boys. It's not that fucking good, the whole movie. It's really, really not. I've got a bit more to say on this, and then I'm getting to chat. But I'm looking forward to some robust conversations. But again, let's be objective here, boys. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves and what it is we're seeing here. So, a bit more here. Before I get into chat, I can see chat going skits above me. Everyone probably wants to have my guts for garters. Ouch My Back says, This is the perfect example. He's referring to this scene in Way of the Gun, by the way. This is clipped from another comment string. This is the perfect example of realism done right. I would say there isn't a point where too much realism harms a film, just that the realism doesn't need to be the focus unless it's for a good reason. The moving example wasn't bad because it incorporated realistic tactics. It was bad because it paused the story to shove the tactics in the audience's face. I agree with his statement here in isolation, half of it. I disagree that it's like, okay, I can agree with his statement that he used realistic tactics. Yes, they were realistic tactics. Do I think it made sense in that setting? No. You just simply turn and both walk away while keeping your guns trained on them, right? Or just leave, because there was no incentive for anyone to murder anyone in a narrative sense. Putting that aside, it kind of contradicts himself a bit up here, right? Because he says there isn't a point where too much realism harms a film, but then goes on to say that it was bad because it paused the story to shove the tactics in the audience's face. I would suggest that this is an example of too much realism harming the film, right? Tied to Ouch My Back's point and some of the points of the other guys, right? So let's take these 3 films. Way of the Gun, Jack Reacher, Mission Impossible, Fallout. If you guys gun to your head, okay, I don't even think it's controversial to say, these 2, Jack Reacher and Mission Impossible Fallout, this one here, this is one with him, Superman, Henry Cavill, by the way. These are superior films to Way of the Gun. And that's not, I think, a crazy take by me, considering if you look at the critical and audience reviews, I think they agree with me. This is like 70-something% Rotten Tomatoes. This is, I think, the aggregate, as in audience and critics. This is 90-something%, this Mission Impossible. Rotten Tomatoes. Way of the Gun's hovering at a solid like 50-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think the aggregate score. All 3 films directed by Christopher McQuarrie. The same guy, boys. The same dude directed all 3 films. So you can see how he sort of matured as a movie maker and a gun guy movie maker, right? So his first film was just a love letter to guns at expense of the film and expense of the story. He keeps his gun stuff in some of the other films, but dials it down, makes it more subtle, and you get just a better movie because of it. So Jack Reacher has the cool snipery sort of stuff, some of it a bit campy. The firing range scene, like where he's shooting a piece of paper and it's exploding like a steel target, all that sort of stuff. But the Jack Reacher cool thing, there's a really cool AR setup in there. There's a sick video by, who's that? There's a YouTuber dude, Hop. I can't remember his full channel name. Anyone know Hop? What's Hop's full YouTube channel name? He's like an American, mostly gun review guy. Like he's a civilian dude, civilian shooter, but he reviews lots of kit. He's got a whole cool video, which I watched and really liked, on like this praising the setup of the AR in Jack Reacher, which is used by Jai Courtney's character. So again, this dude, the director, Christopher McQuarrie, he took like his gun nerd stuff, woven into films in a better way, dialed down the needless, doesn't rub it in your face, and you get a better movie. Mission Impossible, this has that cool scene where Tom Cruise is in Paris and it's his band of, I think they're pretending to be criminals or whatever at the time, and they're up against or they're working with loosely, ostensibly, the actual evil gangsters or terrorists or whatever they are, and there's that French police lady, and evil terrorist man goes to shoot her in front of Tom Cruise, and he does this sick like draw from retention, smokes the first guy from the hip, and then triple tap headshots the other 3 dudes. It's like an extension of the scene from Collateral, where he's in the alley, and he draws and he, yo homie, that's my briefcase? Yeah, it is. Why, you want it back? How about your wallet? It's like an extension of that. And again, Christopher McQuarrie, the same director, the same gun guy who was passionate about his guns way back in Way of the Gun, he still is. He just works it into his films in a better way that's more tasteful. So there still is cool gunplay in these 2, and you can see that it's his legacy. It's just better done. And I don't think it's insane to see these are objectively, not even my opinion, these are objectively better films than Way of the Gun. Putting aside the gunplay of Way of the Gun, the plot makes no sense. No one, ask someone you know, when they bring up Way of the Gun, next time you have this conversation, right? I implore you, say like, oh yeah, what's the plot about? It's like the meme. Never ask like a girl her weight. Never ask a man how much money he has in the bank. Never ask a Way of the Gun fan to explain the plot of Way of the Gun. Because no one fucking knows. No one understands it because it doesn't make sense. Fucking hell. I know I've gone hard in the paint here, boys, but like I believe what I'm saying. And I think if you're honest with yourself, like it's hard to sort of fucking disagree with me. What pushback is there? If you like Way of the Gun just because it has a few cool gun scenes, that's cool, but you have to sort of also accept that putting the guns aside, it's not that great a film. It's just fucking not, boys. Chat, let's see how we go. Let's scroll up. Good grief. I'm gonna get cooked here. Okay, oh, there's not that much. Okay. Battle of Yonkers. No, Battle of Los Angeles. I continue to live in fear of the discourse that Battle of Hogwarts would generate. Yeah, true. Okay, I'm going to scroll down to the one we're talking about. Way the Gun. I'm a Way the Gun stand, but the cheese is undeniable, says Riley. Right, and look, I don't think that it's cheese. I just think it's just too much. It's just gunplay in spite of the film, in spite of the narrative, in spite of everything else. Does anyone actually know who Nigel McDougall is? Right. Do people even know what underrated even means these days? No. Does it say, did one dude say that? Yeah, sorry, this is what Louis Vidal said. Way the Gun is an insanely underrated movie. I disagree. I think it's aptly and appropriately rated, sitting at like 55% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's a sound rating for this fucking movie. I'm going to be honest. Cheese in French is fromage or something. Antes eras chevre is just saying you used to be cool. Oh, really? You used to be cool. Antes eras chevre. Which one of those words is chevre? What's the one photo of Harry Potter 2 with Glocks in the bathroom? What the fuck? So in Spanish, he basically said you used to be cool. Okay. I like this dude. He's alright. He kind of rules. Mr. Sun's Knight. Come back again, man. I'm not slagging you off. Come back, leave me another comment in Spanish. British, let me read. Up. Again, people failed to watch the video RE Way of the Gun. Yeah, the scene in particular was pretty goofy, says Saint. It is goofy. I think that's a word for it. Battle of Hogwarts is pretty big. Also, how do you fight wizards? Shouting, moving to your partner, not in a gunfight, not task saturated. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I'll tell you what's excruciating for me. How many people glaze the gunfight in Heat? Yes, audio-wise, it's great, but reloading, hello. Yeah. Look, I'll give Heat... man, look, I might be Heat zealot, because you're right, the audio is impeccable. Also, 1995, man, so... Way of the Gun, I think, has got a good, 5 years on Heat. When did Way of the Gun come out? 2000? I can't remember. Let me Google it real quick. But again, 1995, I'm pretty lenient on Heat. I could be wrong here on Way of the Gun release. 2000, bang on, yeah. So Way of the Gun came out solid 5 years after Heat. Up. What do we got here? Shouting, I've read it. Pulling a trigger is faster than shouting a spell and flicking your wand. Since my girlfriend's dad is a US Army vet, me and him often banter between whether M81 Woodland or DPC was most effective. What's your verdict? Definitely no bias. I don't think you can. It's not an apples to apples comparison because, well, Woodland versus Australia. So DPCU color palette probably going to work better in, well, Australia, and certainly Woodland going to work better in America. Parker and Longbar should have just started doing Australian peels while they're leaving. Yeah, well, what do you guys call an Australian peel? Because I've noticed that. I've seen YouTube videos of dudes doing break contacts and calling it the Australian peel. I don't know what that is. I think it's what we would call the tunnel withdrawal, right? So typically, if you are doing a fighting withdrawal, as in you are attempting to break contact as a small team, a recon patrol or a section or a sniper team, something like this, no real bigger than a section, fucking maybe as a platoon. If you're breaking contact as a platoon, though, in this fashion, you're having a bad day, though. You'd typically do a baseline or a tunnel as the two primary methods of the initial withdrawal, as in terms of how you set your dudes out, how you're moving and breaking. So, yeah, I think maybe Australian peel refers to a tunnel withdrawal. That's just what we would call that. Obviously, you know, Brazilians don't call Brazil nuts. They just call them nuts. We just call that a tunnel, I think. Riley, I heard in Australia they're just called peels. Yeah, there we go. The clip is the tactical equivalent of nonsensical expository dialogue. Yep, real. Hold that thought for the Miami Vice one. Counterpoint, it gives you time to refill on snacks and drinks, also to check your watermelon, ensure it hasn't fallen. Told it to stay, but not have. Oh dear, comment on heat before it was brought up. You never know, Melon could be feeling rebellious. Only one of those films has Henry Cavill reloading his fists, therefore only one of those films is good. That is a fucking iconic scene. That is sick, the Henry Cavill fist reload. Tom Cruise isn't my reacher, but it is better than Way of the Gun. Yeah, look, I'm no super big Tom Cruise fan either. I respect his, how would you describe it, work ethic. But I think, yeah, Reach is a decent film, and I quite like Jai Courtney in that as well, like as the villain. Never seen Way of the Gun, just listen to you shitting on it for 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm spending too much on it. I thought I'd have to come in to this chat guns blazing, but I don't seem to be have annoyed or infuriated anyone too well, which is good because, like, I think it's a common sense take. Like, I don't think what I'm saying, I'm not being a contrarian, I swear to God. I just think it's one of these things, if you give it more than 30 seconds of thought and you're honest to yourself about, like, Way of the Gun, then I think this is a conclusion that everyone would naturally come to. Hop now, literally just hop. Yeah, cool. I like his channel. My dad sees and froths the mouth like an Albanian raccoon whenever the Way of the Gun is mentioned. His channel is now just hop. The first reloading was just that realistic. No wonder the movie did well. Hop, fire. Okay, like weapon. Yep. Hopology, gotcha. Oh boy. The best AR setups are in The Rookie. I don't remember. It wouldn't be realistic for two experts to expose about basic tactics to each other during a mission, just a fixation on unnecessary minor details for unknowable reasons. I think those unknowable reasons are that, like my man says here on screen, the director's brother was a Navy SEAL and helped direct the choreography of the gun battle. So when you've got a Navy SEAL man there advising your show, and you're like, hey, Navy SEAL man, what would you do if you were withdrawing here? What's going to look cool? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Like when we do a break contact, like we're in the jungle and we have machine guns, we do like moving and covering. We say moving. It's like, oh yeah, let's do that. And it's like, oh, I don't know, man. You probably wouldn't do it. Like they're in a hallway and they've only got pistols at these distances. Doesn't really make sense. No, that's sick. We're going to do that. I can picture that's how the conversation would have gone. Tomorrow we'll have the dumbest rifle. Yes, but it's still spawned the best memes. The reason is smug writers and directors trying to show off. I read it. Oh God, I've read it. I've only seen the movie in full once because all the other times I just skipped to the firefights. Yeah, true. Man, I've seen the full movie. I couldn't tell you what it's about. I could not explain the plot of Way to the Gun to you, if like gun to my head. I didn't read that. Shiver is cool. It wasn't the moving scene just a joke. I don't know. I don't think so. It looks like a joke. No, that was a sincere scene if you haven't seen the film. Yeah, no, bro, it's like this was a serious thing the movie was doing. This was not like parody. We feel bad about teaching it as the Aussie peel back in Canada. You guys call it the Aussie peel back. That sounds like something you bloody do after you've been outfield for a couple of weeks and you got to bloody have a wash. Yeah, I feel like what you're describing is what we call Australian peels. I reckon we call it at night. Good stream. Good meeting you, lads. See you next one. Thanks, Tainski, mate. Thanks for your contributions and jumping in. See you in the next one. Fun factor, in the Black Powder days, the British Army basically did the same thing when advancing or drawing in narrow terrain with the name street firings. Good night, sleep tight. Don't let the spiders bite. The Way the Gun is the most early 2000s looking movie with confusing plot that just happens to have a great gunplay and a final shootout. I like the gun casting in that film too, e.g. 308 Galil. Yeah, true. Is it a 308 Galil or is it a 556 Galil? I don't recall. Look, man, yeah, your comment, I'm not arguing with it. It's a confusing plot. The final gunfight is cool. I will say that's the best part of the film. The final shootout they have in that Mexican house, that is cool. That's good use of grounded, I'd say. We can use realistic if we want. Realistic gunplay. This scene here in particular, putting aside the cinema flaws of the movie, right? If we're just talking gunplay, this scene, man, I disagree. This is not a good scene. If you want to cite, hey, Way of the Gun is so cool because it has realism of tactics and gunplay, and you show someone this scene who does or has trained in a baseline withdrawal, you know, what the fuck? This isn't cool. I'm rolling my eyes. Okay. Post field ops peel back, brah. Going full peel. Why would you say that? Had to do it to us. All-time most realistic shootout is in equilibrium. Faux show. Gun food. Okay. I think I have one more point to this. Sorry, so this slide, I think I yapped to it already, but you can see how the director, why I sort of got at this evolution. Man, I think the director feels the same way. He came to the same conclusions after Way of the Gun, that you can have too much gunplay or too much, like, in-your-face realistic gunplay. So now he chucks in just these little sprinklings of gun cool guy realism throughout his movies, but very tastefully and not at the expense of the plot or the film at large. Moving on to the second part of this slander, which was Miami Vice. Miami Vice X Z Fail 3485 says, I think you did Miami Vice pretty dirty as it had some really good firefights that were pretty realistic. The ranting boy says the shade towards Miami Vice was on point. So this guy agreed with me, this guy disagreed. I think there were a few other people commenting on the shade towards Miami Vice. So again, Miami Vice it's Michael Mann, so it's Heat. In my opinion, it's one of the weaker Michael Mann films, as in if you gave me Collateral, Heat, and Miami Vice and rank them, Miami Vice is an easy number 3. I'd much rather rewatch Collateral even over Miami Vice any day. Not just because this is aside from gunplay, man. I don't like the cinematography of Miami Vice. That he went with the digicam thing, and there's these really weird, like, excruciating close-ups of like Jamie Foxx's face, like all sweaty, and the camera's just shaking despite it being like 30 centimeters away. And the weird, just the digital camera effect they went with on this. Not effect, it is digital camera. I'm not a huge fan. I didn't like it. But that's just a preference thing, right? So, you know, I can't hold that against it. But this scene here is what I particularly shit on in Miami Vice. And it was pretty much an example of what someone said before up above. I can't remember who said it. Apologies. Krieg, I think, said it. No. Was it Azia? Someone had the comment in the chat about just needless exposition. And that's what this Miami Vice thing is. This whole bit where, so man here, I'll set the scene if you haven't seen it. Man here's got lady hostage. He has explosives around her neck. He's got a dead man switch. And there's this big painful scene where he's like, hey, I've got a dead man switch. If you shoot me, she's going to die. In fact, we're all going to die because that's explosives. And a dead man switch means that when I die, my thumb comes off this button and then we all explode. And that's, I'm exaggerating, right? I'm embellishing it. But that's the gist of his dialogue. Lady here then says, the clip that I played in the video, no, that's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is I'm going to put a 77 grain round at 2,600 feet per second into the medulla, the base of your brain, and it's even longer than what I clipped. And it's just painful and needless because, as the guy said in the chat, it's dumb exposition. If you wanted to do this smart, you would have him say, don't come any closer, I've got a dead man switch on. I'm going to blow the bitch's head off if you come a step closer. And then you just have the camera pan to lady. You see her like, you could maybe just show like her iron sights, like a POV, or even just show her raising her point of aim slightly. Close up of the trigger, she squeezes off a single shot, cut back to man, hard cut, super graphic brain head explosion, and then you have him do like the live leak crumple, still with the detonator in his hand, no explosion. Me as the viewer, I watch that and I understand, oh, man has just said, don't come any closer because I have this switch. If I release it, everyone's going to explode and we're all going to die. You give me these visual clues with Lady aiming at his head. You show him being shot in the head. You show him really like violently and liquidly crumpling into a puddle on the floor, as in the life has just instantly drained out of him, like the switch has been flicked off. Me as the viewer, even if I'm not a gun guy, am smart enough to go, oh, I guess if you shoot someone in the head, they don't have time to take their thumb off the button and it just keeps holding the button. You see what I'm talking about, boys? So it's an example of, this is a classic, not even a fucking movie. Oh, I guess it is a movie. Show, don't tell. It's just a literary device. Show, don't tell. You don't tell people the lady put a round at 2,700 feet per second into the medulla at the base of his brain. Therefore, he couldn't release the button on the dead man switch. You show her shooting him in the head and the bomb not exploding. And the audience is smart enough to draw that conclusion and fill in the gaps themselves. So that's why this is cringe, because it insults you as the viewer. It holds your hand. And this is, I think, a citation to why Mr. Inbetween is good. Because if this was a Mr. Inbetween scene, man would say, don't come any closer, cunt, I've got a dead man switch. Ray would shoot him in the head, man would crumple, and you would show us that, oh yeah, the dead man switch doesn't work if you fucking dome someone in the skull. You get what I mean, boys? Let me read the chat. All-time most realistic chat is in Equilibrium. Grounded, yes. Realistic, Del Toro having 15, 19, 11 mags on him, no. To me, if you're talking about Miami Vice, you're talking the Jim Zubiana. I don't know how to pronounce that, Mozambique. I've seen that. That's iconic too. The thing that drives me nuts about that is how they got the sound wrong, right? Like, because he does a 3-shot, well, Mozambique, but I don't think in the sound design they put 3 shots in. Yeah, mate, Collateral is just a better pace, better shot, directed film with some awesome gunplay in it. True. Live leak crumple. But D, smiling face. But everyone knows what I mean. Like the live leak, like that light switch goes off, liquid incapacitation. Good realism is just done. Do not explain it. If people care, they will ask and have it explained. If it must be said, say it quickly, preferably after the fact. Movies need to start including the live leak drop, lights out, bozo. Yeah, real. Why didn't you include the whole bit of nonsensical exposition? That would have been funny. Honestly, just, what do you call it? Like copyright strikes. I've got to be real careful with just using shortest possible clips I can, or the video just gets immediately nuked for monetization. Explaining after the fact retains the shock, the speed, and the information for the audience. True. You could explain it afterwards, as you've said too. Like you cut to Jamie Foxx like with a shocked look on his face, and she's like, single round into the brainstem. Something like that. Movies not trusting the audience to get it is always going to be a problem. True. You're right. In this case, I think it makes it more egregious because you're making like gun guy stuff movies, and then you're not trusting your gun guys to get it. Like, who do you think is watching? Who does Michael Mann think is watching Miami Vice? And it felt hyper realistic, buddy cop, violent gunplay film. Crazy. Anyway, in contrast, these comments jumped out at me. Alberto Amoruso 7711 says, great video. I think another media which did gunplay perfectly was No Country for Old Man. How much funnier is it? Is No Country for Old Man? A lot of attentions to... Oh, sorry, Matt. I don't think he's a native English speaker, so I'm now just teasing him. Apologies, Alberto. A lot of attentions to detail which you'll miss if you blink, down to how Josh Brolin holds his .270 rifle when approaching the failed drug deal scene. He carries it as GIs carried M16s while on patrol in Vietnam since he's a vet. True. John Doe DD4SU says, in No Country for Old Men, Moss approaches the botched deal in desert with his rifle held at the hip as well. I'd always wondered about that and how it makes more sense. Some good information analysis in this video. Thank you, John Doe. Yeah, so I think a good comparison to Mr. Inbetween is No Country for Old Men. It's a terrific film in all the other senses of acting, dialogue, screenplay, cinematography, pacing, etc., etc. But it's also a gun film, and it's subtle, and that's why it's so good. And not even just the guns, but the stuff that obviously, Anton bloody Mr. Javier Bardem here got his iconic, the cattle killing thing. I can't remember what it's called. What's the piston bloody knocks the locks out and domes people in the head with the compressed air gun thing. I can't remember what this is. I think it's some sort of Remington. No, it's not a Remington. Is it like a Mossberg? No, wrong. It's a Winchester. I can't remember what type. I'm pretty sure this is Winchester. There's a pressed Winchester shotgun he has. And then there's the also real cool stuff, like when he prepares for this in the hotel scene, when he pops this door open and he shoots the cartel Mexicans. You see him in his own room and he's rehearsing the entry. He opens the door, looks at the room, and then he shuts it, and then he opens it hella quick and flicks the light on again, and there's no explanation. There's not like a dumb voiceover saying, oh, I've got to make sure I can get in this room quick. That's why this stuff is cool, when they don't treat you like a dum-dum. Because this is one of those things, I'll be honest, I don't think I picked up on stuff like that on first viewing. Because in my brain, I'm not treating No Country for Old Men when I've got to watch it as like a gun film or like a tactic cool guy film. But then when you see it on repeat viewings and you notice these little sick details, you appreciate it more, right? It's just like a fine wine gets better with age. So yeah, I think it's a fair comparison to draw parallels between, say, Mr. Inbetween and No Country. Just very gritty shows. Mr. Inbetween, way more comedic, obviously. But they have very grounded gunplay that doesn't beat you over the head with it. It just fits natively into the show or the movie. What do you boys reckon? It's always going to be the death of cinema. Nothing good has come out for a while, so you need to watch all the stuff. Someone should make a comedy screwing with gun guys, like including Punk Action M14 case ejecting wildly. But yeah, it's like you're describing Naked Gun, I feel. That'd be a Remington 11870. The shotgun? Yeah, nice. I said Remington, didn't I? Remington? I mixed up. I said Winchester. It is a Remington, is it? My bad. I stopped watching movies and TV years ago. It's all too frustrating. I just stick with autistic YouTubers explaining their hyper-focus like CSRC. Yep. Fair. It certainly is getting hard to watch grown adults play pretend when it's all what it boils down to. No wonder all actors are weirdos. All this stuff predates the Netflixication. True. All this stuff predates the Netflixification of media. Who knows how much worse those bad movies would be today. That's another good point by Krieg43. I don't know what it is, bro, but I've seen, I think like when War Machine, I did the video on War Machine, obviously. I swear to God, like GWAT movies, when the GWAT was a thing, looked more realistic than when they do GWAT movies now. And it's so fucking weird. It's so weird to explain. I haven't even seen it, but the example that pops to my mind is there's that Jake Gyllenhaal movie, The Covenant. And again, I've never even seen the full thing. I've seen the previews and I've seen some stills, and just the kit and like the way he's wearing his OpsCore helmet, he looks insane. And it's like, how are they getting it worse now? And then I think back to some of those old school, and there were a lot of cringe like Iraq War movies that came out when Iraq was still going on. Stop Loss, Sandcastle, all this sort of stuff. They just seem to be better in terms of the attention to detail of even the kit and the guns. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we should have no excuse now. You've got the benefit of hindsight. You've got all the time to research in the world, and you've got more access to it, presumably, if you're a big studio. So it just sucks that some of this stuff's getting worse, man. Captive bolt gun, thank you. Yep. It's getting registly blank firing guns in modern media. Yeah, I know, it kills me. Again, thanks, Eric Byron. Yeah, the whole Baldwin debacle made it even worse, all just CGI now. Yeah, it's really bad, man. And the CGI is just, it's really obvious. Excuse me, I'm sipping on water. Okay, slide. How are we doing coming up on 2 hours? Is Ray driven by ego? Question. Kieran697 says, to preface, it's a good show and I've watched the whole thing. He is motivated by ego, though. He engages in unnecessary violence because he feels like it and can use his code to justify it. He's incredibly reactive and barely keeps it under control. He can't even pretend enough to get through his anger management course without messing up. He fucks up his romantic relationship because he can't control himself. He only feels comfortable when he's with his daughter or doing violence. He's still at war. Poignant. I put this in because I do think it's an interesting take. And some of what Kieran says here, you can't really deny. I think it's fair. I'm just nitpicking, or not nitpicking, but I'm zeroing in on one part of his argument here, in that I do disagree that Ray is motivated by ego. I don't think there's evidence to suggest that, let's say some of this stuff that he's saying that is true. Like, sure, Ray is reactive. He has anger issues. He has, poor emotional restraint, you could argue. He can't control himself in situations. He can't control his seemingly, in his words, justified desire to inflict violence on people in situations when he really should. Like the brother thing, the brother-in-law, sorry, or Ali's brother, when he takes the unicorn. And he does. He fucks up his relationship because of his impulse control. I just disagree with this part of it, that he's motivated by ego. And I think why this came up, because I used that when I was doing the contrast to Walter White, who I would say certainly is motivated by ego. So yeah, I just don't think this is accurate, because, Ray's not aspiring to be a kingpin in the Sydney criminal underworld. He's not like jostling for a position. He's not manipulating and using people. And he's not driven by you could argue maybe driven a bit by pride, if you want to link some of these things to, or like his respect, as in don't disrespect me. You could maybe link that to pride, but I don't know, man. I don't agree that this part of what you're saying, which I do think is true, necessarily reflects that Ray is ego-driven. I don't think that's the case. But it is an interesting thing, because there weren't that many comments about sort of the character sides of it. So this is one of the ones that kind of jumped out at me. So what do you boys reckon? Chat. Let me scroll up. Up. Yeah, like Home of the Brave. Stop Loss was good. Mid-2000s War Iraq cheese. Yeah, like on the Iraq War thing, even if they weren't good films, which a lot of them weren't, a lot of them sucked, man, they just looked better in terms of the realism. I believe the same loss of realism happened with swordplay and depictions of medieval Europe. True. This could be, like you said, Krieg, it's like Netflix shitification. CGI's knock-on effects of encouraging flatly lit. Knock-on effects of encouraging flatly lit sets definitely hurts, yep. CGI over airsoft guns with weak audio. Yeah, man, it's bad. Old-fashioned shit took more effort, so you see more work done. And modern shit is factory production with keyboards and green screens. The craft isn't required, so low budget skips it. Yeah, true. Yeah, man. So like old-fashioned, I love, if we're talking gunplay now, and effects, practical effects with CGI. Bro, like my prime for gunplay effects, 80s, 90s, man. Or anything where they went hard on squibs. So if you think like Die Hard, you think Predator, you think, I don't know, what are some other early 90s, like Lethal Weapon, the guns insofar as the visual effects with squibs, just unreal. Commando, RoboCop, this era where like, man, guns were violent, guns were bloody. Like when dudes got smashed with squibs, Total Recall, it felt so much more violent, so much more like in your face than anything CGI can do. And as a comparison, I would say if you cast your mind to like I was going to say the Avengers, what's the one with Stallone and Arnie and Bruce? Well, they're all get the band back together, all the old action heads. Expendables, right? Expendables, man, I remember watching that and just being flooded with CGI blood splatters and muzzle flash, and just, it's so bad, it draws you out of it. And you go back and you watch something like Predator or one of the Rambos, noting Stallone, the squibs, man, just makes so much of a difference. It's crazy. And I love that there's that John McTiernan MP5 sound that he uses in both Die Hard and Predator. It's got that like that really iconic 80s MP5 burst sound and spray. It's a bit weird in Predator because the M60 and the MP5 have the exact same sound effect that are like the. It's just fucking cool though. It's even though it's not realistic, it just hits hard and it makes it seem more violent. I can't explain it, but you guys get what I mean. Anyway, let me keep reading. Even the garbage of old movies, still have charm because of the effort put into them. However poorly, and it's always fun to see blanks going off. True. CGI companies, oh god, scroll too far. CGI companies aren't given the time required to do the work. They can make things look amazing, but to get product out the door, they don't get the time, resources allotted. Probably true. The deadlines they're working with, maybe not ego. Sorry, now we're back to Ray. Maybe not ego, but the excitement of the criminal underworld could be appealing to him, as evidenced by your point on the colour grading of the domestic versus underworld scenes. That's true. Think Jurassic Park, amazing quality from mid-1990s, because they spent every second they could working on it. Now they make the movie in demand, CGV applied in a couple of months at best. Remake Breaking Bad and replace Mike with Ray. See how the story unfolds. I just rewatched The Magician, love it. Expendables, that's the one. Mr. Man says RoboCop, Starship Troopers, another good example. Total Recall, the holy trio of godly squibs and blanks. I love it. Yeah, the RoboCop scene with what's that giant mech, the robot, and it just murders that dude on the table, and it's the most gory, disgusting scene involving guns shooting people in the history of cinema. You have 30 seconds to comply. What has annoyed me more, Hot Hop says, what has annoyed me more than anything else with guns is that Michael Mann appears to be the only guy in Hollywood who understands that guns are loud. True. I just learned this year that Expendables got 3 or 4 sequels and a side movie for female stars. Good lord. God, one of those films was horrid enough. Yeah, man, I think I saw the first 3. Didn't really... They're not good. The Expendables, they're really not. Exciting concept, but man, just... they lost the charm of what made their very best works good. Slide. Okay, so a bunch of comments here. BFVGNR. Berettas are popular as movie guns because they can be readily adapted to blank fire without complicated gunsmithing. Daniel Brettel, 2236. Also, due to the operating mechanism, Berettas are easier to use with silencers and with blanks. Michael Murphy, 9747, says, I heard an armor on a podcast say that the Beretta pistols are so popular in films because they cycle blank rounds reliably. Also, there is some conversion to the barrel to keep it safe that makes other pistols not cycle well. Burping, excuse me. Adam 184 Blue says, one of the likely reasons for lots of Berettas is they are relatively easy to set up for blanks, as they do not use the Browning tilting barrel system, just a threaded barrel plug and remove the locking wedge. Any Browning action required to the locking surface on the barrel to be removed. Good points, very good points. I'll be honest, I hadn't considered it. I've not bloody blank fired a Beretta, obviously. But totally makes sense. I didn't look into this. I didn't fact check or research this, but it stands on its own merits. And there are also a bunch of comments here speaking to it. So yeah, this is one of those like lightning bolt moments even for me. It's like, oh yeah, that's why like probably one of the big reasons Berettas are so damn popular in films. And it makes you kind of think chicken and egg, you know? Were they first popular when they first became iconic through John McClane and what's his name in Lethal Weapon? Riggs? Because of just a choice? Or were they in those movies because they were easy to convert to blanks, and then the rest of Hollywood was like, what's that cool pistol they're all using? Like, oh, it's a Beretta. And they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, it's really easy to convert to blanks. So it's cool bit of, I think, cinema lore, gun cinema lore, this thing. And yeah, I'll confess I didn't know this. Oh, it makes sense. I hadn't thought of it. So good addition from these guys here. Chat real quick. Yeah, guns are so loud, Mr. Man. Guns are so loud, they can't figure out if they can't figure it out or are too audio sensitive. Embarrassing. You know what I miss? A good old head explosion. I showed my girlfriend Glory a couple of weeks ago, and the head explosion is in the opening scene as a chef's kiss. Just practical effects in general. Scanner's head explosion. Oh, the GIF for that is iconic, huh? Attila RZA says, man bites dog. 1992, Belgium. Tarantino, like magician, like movie. I believe it's the first movie in the found footage. It's unbelievable. Really? Man bites dog. Interesting. Not heard of it. Beretta 92F, so just also sexy. Yeah, I think so too. I should rewatch all the Lethal Weapons. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, man, I'm due as well. I've not seen them in a hot minute. Moving on. This one's called Unsolicited Plug for the Rover. Banana bread at work, dude. Hell yeah. What a guy. What a name. The Robert Pattinson in The Rover was one of the most heartbreaking characters I've seen in a film. Cho Barker says, oh yeah, The Rover. I was pleasantly surprised by that one years back. Dave O'Lifant 4477 says, had no idea the anger management guy was David Michôd. Such a cool fact. Animal Kingdom was such a brilliant movie. Yeah, boys, if you haven't seen The Rover, which is this right here on screen, man, go give that a watch as well. So it is directed by Michôd, who did Animal Kingdom, as you can see on screen. He also did The King on Netflix, the one with Chalamet and I can't remember who else is in it, but that's a good movie. That Netflix, what is it, Battle of Agincourt, right? That's a good flick. So Michôd directed that one. He directed this little Australian film called The Rover, which has Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson. It's it's not a crazy film. It's like, you can tell it's lower budget. It's just a very character-driven thing. It's loosely set. I don't know how you describe it. It's not post-apocalyptic. It's like, and that's the thing. They don't explain it in the film, but that I think makes it cooler. It's just about the characters. It's just a character-driven conflict, but it appears to be set in what I would describe as like a post-economic collapse world. That's how I would characterize it. But that's it. You don't know. I'm making that conclusion myself because it's not explicitly stated, but that's just what seems like what is happening. And there's also, I'd go as far as to say, maybe that there's like a China angle to it, as in the Chinese are now in control, or they have, hell, might even be insinuated they are like, if not militarily, like white glove in control of Australia. That's a takeaway reading between the lines I have of this. I could be reaching, but there's a few little hints. Go and watch The fucking Rover. It's incredible. The other thing I like about The Rover, it was the first movie I saw with this chap, Robert Pattinson, where I thought this dude is actually a real actor and he's a really good actor. Because up until that point, I, like probably many others, who hadn't seen, was a bit too old for Harry Potter and Twilight. I was like, this dude is just some nerd who plays like gay vampires and wizards. And then I saw him in this and I was like, this dude is an impeccable actor. So yeah, man, give this one a go if you haven't seen The Rover. Really, really good. Oh my God, my fucking throat is killing me. Chat. The King is worth it just for Pattinson's performance. Yeah, real. And so I would guess they made a comeback. So David Michôd, the director of both of them, probably they obviously like working together. What do you think of the Wolf Creek films? They're good, man. They're not too shabby. There's a bit of gunplay in them. Like the second one when he's... Actually, even the first one, I remember there's a bit of gunplay because he shoots the thermos of the bloke and you hear like the bullet crack before you hear the gunfire, this kind of thing. So they dabble with a bit of gunplay in Wolf Creek. Like Mad Max 1, question mark? Yeah, similar to Mad Max 1. I'd say Mad Max 1 is full... Actually, no, you're right. Mad Max 1 is not full post-apocalyptic though, is it? Like there's not fucking leather-clad marauders with like nipple piercings and gimp masks and all this sort of shit. That's Mad Max 2 where they go hard in the paint on that and they go full like Fallout Raider. So yeah, more like Mad Max 1, I think. But yeah, Rover's it's a just solid film, man. It's something different. It's slow. It's not like a hectic action flick. There's action scenes. But man, if you just want to see a couple of good acting performances in a sort of a different setting, something that tries to be a bit different, give The Rover a go. Really, really recommend it. The scene in Wolf Creek where he's fucking with the coppers is hilarious. Yeah, I think that's the second one, Dave. That is a fun scene. Okay, this one's called Unsolicited Plug for Chopper. Long Dong Silver. Fucking good grief. Long Dong Silver 9426 says, this is one of the best series I've watched in years and have recommended to everyone. Chopper the movie, which is loosely based on, was one of my, I don't think it's based on Chopper. Inspired by, maybe a better phrase. Was one of my favourite movies growing up, and the fact that he got the same actor who played Chopper's dad to star as his dad. Oh, he fucking did too. You know what? I haven't even read this full comment yet. I just saw the Chopper part. That's what I wanted. And this is amazing. Such a shame he didn't do a few more seasons, but it was more of a passion project. I think I also love the fact Chopper himself got to watch the pilot, The Magician, at the film festival before he died. Apparently he loved it. Rip Mark Chopper Reed. So to the American viewers, Chopper Reed was sort of a notorious Australian criminal gangster standover man is the Australian terminology for it. Like a dude who hustles people and collects debts and, you know, snaps knees, that sort of thing. Chopped his ears off in prison, notoriously, hence the name. But he was played brilliantly by Eric Bana in the film Chopper. Fucking incredible. Probably one of the, hard to press to find a better one, one of the best top 5 Australian films of all time. Very, very quotable. It's only when you go back and rewatch Chopper, you realise how much dialogue from Chopper has just seeped its way into the military lexicon and you just use on the daily, if like in the Australian Army. Probably broader Australia too, but certainly in the Army, there's just so much little quips and one-liners from Chopper that just dudes will say 50 times a day and you don't even realise that it's come from Chopper. Examples. That old chestnut. Like that's straight out of Chopper. That old chestnut. There's little fucking things like that. I can't think of any others, but dudes will know. If you're watching this, leave it in the bloody comments. What are other Chopper quotes that just work their way into day-to-day conversation and get used all the time? Chat. Attila, Chopper, great movie. It is bloody great. Mr. Man, love Choppo. Mr. Dong Silver is clearly a man of culture. Yeah, Long Dong knows his stuff. Go you, Long Dong Silver. Okay, some other random gun stuff. Mr. Rebel 13 says, I'm a bit surprised they didn't use a Browning 9mm ADF spec nor an Oz-style rifle. They're newer weapons, but some have gone missing from armories over the past 2 decades. Also, you showed a quick shot of my old boat. L196 HMAS Balikpapan. I can't pronounce that. Balikpapan. Is it Balikpapan or is it Balikapan? Balikpapan. Headlock. Next comment says, the best Aussie show ever made, and for me the top 3 of all time, up there with Sopranos for me, thanks to the breakdown. The sound design of the ambush scene is amazing. So many little things like the sound of the radiator on the van after he lights it up. It gets louder as he gets closer to check the driver. He steps on the glasses, moving to cover, stuff like that. So the first one, yeah, it would have been cool to see a Browning in there as well. That would be sort of just leaning really hard into he's ex-ADF, and, you know, he's got a Browning high power because now that's what he used in the army. But you could also argue that might be a bit too on the nose, because you'd also make the case that, like, well, a lot of dudes in the army didn't really like the Browning high power. To be fair, probably back in Ray's era, didn't probably have the same complaints leveled at it. Like, complaints about the Browning was more so in, like, you know, when it's 2018 and we're using a Browning high power when everyone else is using a striker-fired polymer gun. But yeah, to be fair, late 90s, mid-thousands, probably not as many complaints about the Browning because it's a perfectly fine pistol. Plenty reliable, but it might just be a bit on the nose, you know, having ex-army man use the, well, army service pistol. But this is also a case where you could use it. Headlock's comment here, yeah, just speaking to the sound design, I did have this in there originally, but I cut it again just for brevity. So, but yeah, the sound design in the ambush scene is cool. I did speak to that. But he specifically talks about here, like the radiator, you just hear this like the tick, 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 tick. And it feels exactly like it would as if you were walking up to a car that had been perforated and shot full of holes. You can hear like the radiator dripping. Like he says, the crunching of glass under his shoes. It's just sick, man. Really cool sound design. Up. Best part of this stream is hearing CSRC struggle with Asian sounding words. What other fucking Asian sounding words were there? I think I struggled. It was actually, there was something earlier on. Yeah, how you said it was close enough. I just enjoy listening to his Icelandic accent. What the fuck? Moving on. This one's just more a quick correction on my part. Mill Collector says, I was an employee of Astrid Velati, Doc Av on gumboards, a Queensland theatrical ordnance supply before his passing. He supplied the weapons for danger close, the Great Raid, blah, 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 blah. Astrid mentioned John Bowering in conversations. He'd pronounced John's surname as Bowring, as in bow, as in ship's bow, as did a couple of armorers. So yeah, correction, I called him, I think, John Bowring. My apologies, it's John Bowring. Bowring. Man, I couldn't find many videos or there's not much out there on this chap. I did email him. Bro, I was really hoping to hear back from him because I would have loved to get some behind-the-scenes goss. I managed to get his email off another dude who was the stunt coordinator from Mr. Inbetween, so shout out to him. Tony Lynch, I think his name was. He replied to my email. Bloody very kind. You know, I'm just a random fat YouTuber, so that they ignore me and leave my emails unread, I completely understand, to be clear. Like, I'm not entitled enough to think like, oh, they didn't reply, they're assholes. They're real humans with real jobs. So, but yeah, I heard back from the stunt coordinator, and he linked me up with John Bowering, and I flung him an email, but sadly didn't hear back. So it is what it is. No shade against John. Again, he's a busy man with a real job, and busier shit to do than entertain random YouTubers sliding into his emails. But man, it would have been cool if I could get like some behind the scenes goss, you know, just some really cool, thorough sort of research done. Okay, comments. Up. The melon. The melon marong. Yeah. Melon marong thing. Yeah, marong. I'd never thought of that. Marong and Melon Man. Like, marong was like the nickname from Viet Cong to the SAS, right? Vietnam. Phantoms of the Jungle or whatever. Oh, yeah, mate. High power, served my country for many years. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I see your point. That would have been getting cringe territory. Another 90s, peak 90s action film is Ronin. The car chase around Paris is sick and the gunplay is great. True. Ronin, I think, was when I saw a SIG, whatever. He's got 5.51 or 5.52. And I remember thinking, that's a cool looking gun. That looks sick. That looks maybe not futuristic. It just looks stylish. Don't you reckon? Like the SIG 5.5 series? 5.51, 5.52. Actually, no, it would have been Counter-Strike, I think. No, wrong. Counter-Strike would have come out after Ronin, as in the game. So yeah, Ronin was probably one of the earlier SIGs in media, SIG rifles. It's just a stylish gun, huh? It's just that sweet. It's like a Swiss watch. It's like you see a Rolex and it's stylish. A SIG rifle too. I think it's just a beautiful bit of machinery. Meh, Sean Bean survives, feels wrong. He does, doesn't he? He gets away. He doesn't get away with his honor intact though. His bloody credibility takes a massive, massive assassination. Okay, some more comments here. Schreger says, what I like about the farm shootout was that they showed the shotgun being deadly at such distance. Video games tend to make shotguns stupidly close range, so naturally people naturally assume the shotguns are ineffective beyond a few feet. True. This is a good point, and they do show that shotguns are lethal beyond stick your muzzle in their belly range, which is pretty much what you have to do in Call of Duty for shotguns to be effective. Next place comment. Next, I just read his name while I was trying to say next comment, and I ended up saying next flakes. The man's name is cornflakes with yogurt. An amazing detail I've noticed in the Graham shootout scene is that Ray aims for his shoulders to avoid hitting the Kevlar. Sorry, boys, I need to drink some water. Bottle of water. Give us a fucking bottle of water in it, geezer. ID or id 8491 says, Mr. Inbetween is one of my favourites. There's one detail that you didn't mention. Ray placing shots at Graham's shoulders where the body armor doesn't protect him, probably in order to disable him, which also happens. I didn't mention this ID 8491 because I don't agree that that's what's happening. So these two guys here have the same comment, and this came up a bunch. There's a take here that Ray aimed for Graham's shoulders because there's no body armor there to disable him. So why I disagree with this is because what I think is happening is that, what's that saying, where the most likely thing is the most likely thing? Ray is aiming at center mass on a withdrawing moving target from behind cover while moving himself, and he's putting a pattern of buckshot onto Graham, some of which is being absorbed by the body armor in the middle of his back or the middle of his chest, slightly off angle, and some of that is not hitting body armor and hitting Graham in the shoulder. I don't think Ray is intentionally aiming for the shoulders because there's no body armor there. The logical why behind my assertion is because if that were the case, you would simply aim at his head and kill him instantly. If you're accurate enough to shoot a dude in the shoulder, like the tiny bit of shoulder that's exposed outside of a body armor, whatever, level X shotgun rated body armor vest, which probably, most soft armors are going to stop buckshot quite comfortably. If you can hit someone's shoulders and you're trying to kill them, you're going to aim for the head. And he had no helmet. He had no protection on his head. So yeah, I don't agree with his take, boys. I saw it quite a lot. I just don't see any common sense or evidence for this being the reason. As for ID saying probably in order to disable him, if you're trying to disable him and not kill him, then you would aim for the legs. Again, if this is what we're saying, Ray is so accurate, he can choose his shots. He wants to disable Graham. Well, let's shoot Graham in the legs then. How about that? If we want to disable him. So yeah, I just disagree with this take, boys. I've seen it quite a bit in the comments. There was more than two. Ray aiming for the shoulder. It just doesn't make sense. So again, just think of this in the logical sense. You're trying to kill the man. If you're accurate enough to hit him in the shoulder, you're going to aim for and hit him in the head. Does that make sense to you boys? Chat. Up. Oh, I missed a bit. I think we probably should talk about Ronin the way people talk about Way the Gun. Underrated. Feels like not a lot of people talk about it. I think, the thing is, I think Ronin is aptly rated. I think Ronin has quite good critical and fan reviews. Let me look it up. Ronin. Because it's a much better film. It's a much stronger film than Way of the Gun. Yeah, it's sitting at 70% and 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it is just I think it's aptly rated. I don't think it's underrated. Maybe under-discussed. But even then, I think in gun guy circles, which let's say is us, then I think it's adequately discussed. Certainly everyone here's seen it and everyone knows the sort of nuance to it. So yeah, I think it's a good film. Stellan Skarsgård had a Glock 17L with a laser sight. I did have a Glock 17L, which for the mid-90s was slick, and the Glock 17L is rare to see in films. Yeah, that's wild. I want to rewatch it just for that. I didn't remember that it's a 17L. Does Sean Bean even die regularly in movies anymore? Occam's razor. And that's the thing, huh? That's the most likely thing is the most likely thing. Let me Google that. Occam's razor is a rule that says the simplest answer is usually the best one. Ah, there you go. When you have two ideas that explain an event, you should pick the one that makes the fewest assumptions. It is named after a 14th century friar named William of Occam. Core ideas, this is Google by the way, or fucking what do you get when you get AI on Google? Whatever this shit is, Gemini. Keep it simple, do not add extra parts or complex guesses. The razor name, the idea acts like a razor to shave off extra unlikely details, not a hard law. It is a helpful guide. Okay, got you. Okay, thank you, Occam's razor. Thank you, Azia Braxi. What? No dunk of the bottle on stream. Clearly the accent overtook your Australianness. No, I'm a pussy, man. I'm drinking water, not beer. Sean Bean's death count has also been somewhat overstated, but after Boromir in Lord of the Rings, he started refusing any role where he died, except a certain TV show. Up at that range, wouldn't Buck hit a bit in the legs too, even if aiming for the centre mass? I don't think so. And he's pretty close. I'd say he's not more than 15 meters. No, I think we're getting into chokes and shit now. I don't think it would. Not standard Buck. But yeah, certainly I don't think it's, even to your point, Marty, if that were the case, it certainly doesn't support their argument that he's aiming for the shoulder. Just checked on IMDb. Last of his films I've seen is The Martian from 2015, and he survives there. Who? Sean Bean's in The Martian? I don't remember that at all. Technically, Occam's razor explanation that requires the least amount of assumption is the most likely correct one. Yeah, gotcha. So in this case, if we're applying Occam's razor to this scene, I think the less amount of assumption is that Ray is just trying to shoot Graham with a shotgun. Some of those shot pellets end up in his shoulder. I think the more explanation is Ray was aiming at Graham's shoulder because he was wearing body armor. He was playing a potato. He's very good. What the fuck? Okay, next one. Cameron Stewart says, my comment here for this one is Yuga Prov. I always thought Dirk said UGA Prov, which could be like military jargon for Uruzgan province. Black Lotus Visual Archive says, just a note on the Afghanistan tidbit. There are about 2,000, sorry, you say Uyghurs. Someone corrected my pronunciation. I don't know how to pronounce this. I think you say Uyghurs, not Uyghurs. Uyghurs in Afghanistan, although many have probably fled due to the Taliban, so it's possible if they were in the province where the Uyghurs in Afghanistan happen to live, or they probably just make up a province, lol. Certainly the name they chose would fit better for Afghanistan than Iraq, since the majority of place names in Iraq are Arabic or Kurdish, while Turkic place names exist in Afghanistan due to various Turkic-speaking minorities such as the Uzbeks, Kyrgyz, and of course the Uyghurs. Yeah, this is just sort of setting the record straight here. This is the actual dialogue in the show, and this is the actual subtitles. So this is their spelling. So that's how I came up with the words I used. I didn't make it up. This is what is being said in them. Now, do they sometimes get subtitles wrong in shows? Yes, of course. But, you know, what am I to do? This is what they say they're saying, so I rolled with this, right? Ultimately, I think my initial sort of instinct here is correct, that it doesn't largely matter, and I think they intentionally chose to not get specific because it's not important. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he was in Afghanistan, Iraq, or Kamaria or Missouri. We know enough. We know that they are veterans of a near, recent global conflict, and Dirk here particularly is suffering from crippling PTSD as a result of it. So yeah, this is sort of just like, hey, I didn't make up Uyghur or Yuga Prov in this spelling or the way they say it. This is what is said in the show. He does not say UGA Prov. Like, I watched this scene a bunch of times, and I don't see how it could be an abbreviation of Uruzgan province either, because I just never heard anyone call Uruzgan province as Yuga Prov. Man, I don't know. But the Prov thing is it's sort of a Afghanistan dog whistle thing. Actually, but even then, the Prov, that almost sounds like something, it sounds like British. That sounds like squatty jargon. Because I didn't even know anyone to say like, oh, which Prov were you in, mate? So it's all weird now that I think about it. But yeah, back to my original point. I think they intentionally made it ambiguous because it doesn't matter. Chat. I don't know what kind of loads Australian crims would have access to, but even with some El Cheapo Walmart special buckshot, he should still have the whole pattern on the upper body. True. Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure we talked about that shot more than the guys making the show. Uyghurs is correct, yes. Uyghurs. Did I say it right? I can't remember in the end. Yeah. Okay, next. Nymphibius says, fantastic video. I wish you would have added a segment about the very realistic fist fights too. Short and impactful. You give a few punches, you take another few punches. Both parties are hurt and exhausted within a couple of minutes. Hollywood seems to think you can take 15 punches from a professional thug and still be able to run a long distance and then continue with another fist fight. Mr. Inbetween does this correctly in several occasions throughout the show. The best example being the fight in the forest where his dog dies. Spoilers. Where you can get a very realistic view of how short a fight would be between two hardened criminals and how injuries during a fight have immediate consequences. Tofu Butcher 7456 says, a lot to love about Mr. Inbetween, but the scene that stuck with me was when Ray and a hitman sent to kill him both run out of ammo and realize the only way out is to fight to the death hand to hand. Absolutely brutal. Yeah, good point, and also speaks to the realism of what I've called the combatives, right? The unarmed combat. I could have woven this in. It's just not. I think it would have maybe strayed outside the lane a bit of gunplay and realism. But it's like adjacent to that, right? Like combatives and unarmed combat and that sort of thing. So that's one thing. I think it's sort of not within the scope of what I was going for in the video. And second to that, just not my lane, boys. I'm not that guy. I'm not bloody jiu-jitsu, UFC man, like throwing haymakers outside the Bank nightclub at Townsville and, a mad minute at the Unit Boozer. A qualified combatives unarmed combat guru does not. So yeah, just not something I'd like feel uber, well, not even qualified, just hell, even what would you say, like enthusiastic about speaking about, because this is not my ballpark. I'm not like into this like unarmed combat stuff. Like I wasn't an unarmed combat guy in the army. I had the bloody qualifications. I had some of the fucking instructor qualifications, whatever they were. We had It evolved. It was MSD for a time. That was ghastly. That was kind of similar to the USMC McMap sort of thing. Bloody MSD instructor, look out over here, I'll bloody bash you. I don't think that was very good. So, I was like an instructor in this thing, and I was like, I don't think I'm a particularly good like fighting man with this. And then after that, they had the other program, which Paul Cale brought in. I don't remember what they called that. But in the early days, it evolved into ACP, Army Combatives Program. I was bloody Army Combatives instructor too, mate. Fucking sick. But again, I don't think I'm qualified, or just wasn't super enthusiastic about it. It's not like not my wheelhouse, It was called IIC at first. When they first brought in ACP, like Paul Cale and crew, it was called Infantry Integrated Combatives. And that was sort of the evolution of MSD, which is military self-defense. And infantry, IIC and ACP, they are good programs, to be fair. But they're not this. It's not, you are not a good boxer. You are not a good UFC man. You are just, it's like a very grounded how to fight in your full kit, how to fight with your bayonet, your clearance knife, grabbing dudes by the chin straps of their helmet, all this sort of stuff. So it's very much, I think it's pretty cool in that sense, and it's practical. If you were like in a fight to the death with a dude in a trench, how would you train to do that? And I think it's kind of in that vein. So again, it's probably not a good base for talking about criminals in jeans and t-shirt, like throwing hands, right? Like slipping and ducking and weaving and shit. Chat. Up. The dog dies. Boo, this show. Either way, it's clearly just a bit of a thing to say. Old mate was in the fight. With context clues, it was probably Afghan. Real. Saddest death in the show, though. I also felt bad for the biker gang leader. You're not a man. Nah, mate, drop bear descendant. Our unarmed combat training was push opponent back, then pull out your trench shovel. What the fuck? Where are you carrying your trench shovel? One side of which is sharpened. Come on, we all thought we were John Wick after that week of MSD. Yeah, real. MSD was so whack, man. MSD was just like you had to learn a set of 30 moves, and then you stand in front of the instructor and he's like, show me an arm bar, and then you wrestle with the dude and you're like, here's an arm bar, and you're in like fucking socks and your cami pants and a t-shirt, and it's like, why am I in hindsight it was insane. Like if it's meant to be a combat preparedness thing, why are we arm barring people? Why do I know what a triangle choke is? Why am I doing a guillotine? Why am I not in full kit? Just crazy to think about that it was not a very good program for teaching like soldiers how to fight in war, right? As in when it's, you're going out swinging. It's him or you. Probably let's not spend a lot of time on fucking arm bars and head triangles or whatever the fuck we were doing. Crazy. LMAO, what military teaches that? German army. Very German training. Yeah, that is. that does. Love that. That's fucking hilarious. You actually hack at something like a boxing bag. That's funny. Remember who you are, little German boy. Where do you keep the trench shovel? Like on your first, what do you even call it? Like your combat webbing? Do you guys keep your entrenching tool on your like first line? Are you talking about the folding stock of the G36 and effective hip firing? Yeah, that was hot. That made me want a G36. Lol, I shot a full auto one before. I think it's sick, mate. I think G36 is a stylish gun too. It's got character. Okay, next slide. Up. Okay, so this next comment comes up a lot. Words to this effect. Jing Huskan. Jing Huskan. Is that me butchering Asian pronunciations again? What's wrong with me? Literally the best show I've ever seen. So funny. Why did they cancel this? So good. Please bring it back. Slippery Salmon 94 says, we need a fourth season. Shampoo, who's got like a... Look at his picture. It's like a little potato or something. Shampoo 768 says, what a great show. Basically a long movie. I love that they ended it before it was beating a dead horse. So these top two dudes I disagree with. Bottom Man, Potato Head, Shampoo, I agree with. Let's not have any more. I think it's done, man. I think it ended perfectly. I was very satisfied with the conclusion. The story came to a natural ending. The characters were tied up. There was no real loose ends. It just ended nicely, boys. And I think you want more Mr. Inbetween. I think you're tempting fate. I think it's inviting a good thing to become a bad thing, it could definitely jump the shark. I don't think they will do more, and if they would, I don't think it would be Scott Ryan involved. God forbid the franchise gets bought out and, I don't know, gets shitified on Netflix or something like this. But I'm pretty sure Scott Ryan has explicitly said, "Nah, that's it, no more." And I mean, I think that's the right move. But you go to like Scott Ryan's Instagram, bro. It's comments bombing him like, and he's got like 20 posts on his Instagram and just like photos of his cat and him eating burgers and shit. There's comments like, "Oh, bring back more Mr. Inbetween. We need more." And I just feel like, man, shut the fuck up. We don't need more. It's a masterpiece. It finished. It's done. You can have too much of a good thing. It will turn bad eventually. So to have any more seasons, I think you're inviting disaster, bro. So no, I say let it sit where it is. I think it ended well. To anyone haranguing Scott Ryan to get more seasons, man, I bid you stop. I don't think that's the move. Chat, what do you reckon? You have it on the right side. This is trench shovel in the German army. You have it on the right side, always ready to pull out, kind of like a gun holster. Word, you keep a fucking entrenching tool like on your individual load carrying kit? That's wild. Pull out, flick to extend the folding. This is like German in the chat. What's that word? Your translation fucked up here, hot. Now I've got to read it in German accent. Pull out, flick to extend the folding gris, and slash. The side that faces outward is sharpened, usually. Sorry, bro. I'm not taking the mick out of you. I'm just doing a bad, like, German impression. I don't know any German impression. I'll do, like, a bad Hans Gruber. What's that word say, though? It's, like, GRIB, but it's a fucked up, like, German character that I can't read. Flick to extend the folding grips and slash. The side that faces outward is sharpened, usually. Is that me butchering Asian words again? What's wrong with it? You're just racist, CSRC. Don't worry about it. Yeah. I'm finna get cancelled by next stream. Mr. Man, ding, that's 3 strikes, CSRC. The Asian Anti-Defamation League is ringing you up, pal. What a fucking... I'm sick for Asians. What's wrong with this? Bloody Asian words. Did I say that? Oh, boy. Hop says, it's kind of sad when a good show ends, but better than dragging it out ever further and losing quality. Now the Germans are going to come after me too after that ghastly display I just put on. Sometimes the best stories just end, and that's okay. Grip, sorry. I probably should have read between the lines and worked that out. Pull it out, flick to extend the folding grip. So on your keyboard, on your German keyboard there, Mr. Hot, you must have like whatever that wacky looking B is. Pull out the grip and slash. Up. I really respect, just a bloke says, leaving it where it lies. Masterpieces of media are good because they are a story that actually ends. Riley says, I feel like people are so starved for quality TV that when something good comes along, people want to squeeze every drop out of it, but sometimes you've got to let things end while they're good. I agree. Krieg says, I think we need less sequels and continuations of already completed stories. No need to be modern Hollywood. Man, I agree. And that's the thing. Modern movies too, there's nothing new. Everything is a remake, a sequel, a prequel, a soft reboot, a continuation of an existing intellectual property, a new movie about an old toy, because now that we made the Barbie movie, now we've got to make the fucking Beast Wars movie. Now we've got to make the Monopoly movie. Now that Barbie did so well, what other toys can we make? There's just nothing fucking new. Sorry, where was I up to in chat? Mr. Man, mate, I just want Scott Ryan to make another piece of TV season. Yeah, agreed. I'd watch anything he does. You don't want the Germans after you CS. Nah, I'm sick for the Germans. Me and the Germans are good. Me and the Germans are tight. I visited Germany many times. No, not many times, actually. I've only visited Germany one time. But I liked it. CS is scared of umlaut. That's not an umlaut, though. Umlaut's the fucking dots. CS is scared of umlaut. Mr. Man, play that Mr. Bird's clip of him saying the Germans are after me. Hot says. Just German figures. Everyone wants their own MCU. Yeah, real. What a next. Real M. Fucking, that's what that's from, isn't it? What a next. Bro, have you seen... I couldn't remember what that is from Red Letter Media. Have you seen that one, what's the one where they get in the fight with Shatner? the boomer fight, but that dude, I think it's a German YouTuber. He's got that video where he's talking about it, and it's one of the greatest things I've ever fucking seen on YouTube. And it's how William Shatner's like questioning the price of property and the cost of living in fucking Milwaukee because he's calling them out for being podcasters and shit. It's one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen. It's one of my favorite YouTube videos. Bro, I'm crying. I'm so glad there was like, you drop that red letter media like reference in here. Red letter media. It's anyone who hasn't seen it, they're a movie review channel. I don't watch them all the time. I used to watch them a lot more. I don't watch them as consistently as I used to. But they had this thing where the main guy in it, Mike, he's like an old boom. He's older than me. Old dude, let's say mid-40s guy. And he loves Star Trek. And he loves like Shatner in Star Trek. And then all the fans were like, hey, you should go and watch Red Letter Media, like YouTube movie reviews. They're big fans of yours. And William Shatner took like one look at one of their parody series, which is them like pretending to be podcast nerds. And he's like, I don't go on podcasts and then he calls them grifters. And then he like finds out they live in Milwaukee. This is all on Twitter. This is like Twitter beef between William Shatner and random RL Red Letter Media fans. To the point where then William Shatner is like, let's see, cost of living for an average dwelling in Milwaukee. And he's like speculating that they're like rich YouTubers and shit. It's fucking insane, but it's one of the funniest bits of like internet lore I think I've ever come across. Oh, bro. Oh, it kills me. Ooh. Shareholders in... Sorry, what do we got? According to IMDb, Michael Bay is currently working on untitled Skibbity toilet movie. But CSRC, it's safe and has mass appeal. Think the investors. Shareholders in entertainment and creative risk go together like oil and water. Actually, credit where it's due. I think, because I mentioned that before, not in this stream, but I've talked about it before, how like the thing where movies have shitty subtitles or shitty expository dialogue because of Chinese translations. I think I learned that from Red Letter Media. They talked about it once years ago, and it stuck with me like a needle in my mind, a splinter in my mind. I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. There's such shitty dialogue in modern films because it just needs to be easily translated for the Chinese cinema market. And yeah, I think I learned that bit of trivia, assuming it's true, from a Red Letter Media video. There's going to be any kind of continuation. I think Scott should make a movie, but taking place right after what happened, almost like Breaking Bad and El Camino. I'm absolutely sloshed right now. Nice. To be fair, I wasn't a huge fan of El Camino. The RLM Shatner boomer fight. Mate, Shatner never let that podcast a bit down the whole fucking time. How good is it, bro? Attila says, Red Letter Media, best channel on YouTube, no offense. Nah, none taken. They're fucking incredible. They're so good. Legendary Shatner crash out, yeah. Now we can do more Red Letter Media yarns now that I know there's dudes who know ball in the chat. I think we're nearly done, boys. I'm wrapping up here. I've got a few more slides. Let me check. Yeah, nearly done. Comment from Skid Rattus says, 9 out of 10 is a fair rating, I'd agree. Referring to my rating at the end of the video, where I said 9 out of 10 Patchett submachine guns. May I inquire as to what made it fall short of a 10 out of 10s, tactically speaking? So I don't really go into a lot of details in this, but when I'm giving these ratings and noting I've only done 2, I did one for War Machine and I did one for this. I'm rating the whole show. I'm not just rating the gunplay, which isn't really clear. I don't make that statement to qualify the rating, but I'm saying it now, I suppose, that yeah, it's more a rating for the whole show. Even so, when I did the War Machine rating, which I think I gave fucking 6, I think, I can't remember. But yeah, so I put these dudes up because really, when I think missed Inbetween, if you want to say what's bad about it, outside the gunplay, just does a show. And I talked about this in the planning room live streams we did with this, with me and the boys. But these two here, they do not do well. So this dude here is Gary's wife's brother, wife, brother. This is Gary's wife, allegedly a Russian, both of them. I looked it up. They're both very Australian actors. Like, this guy doesn't even look... I don't think he looks Russian in the slightest. Like, they give him the Adidas tracksuit and the shit tattoo. It doesn't cut the must, and the shit haircut, it doesn't do it for me. He just looks like a Melbourne dude. It looks like I'd see him... He looks like a podcast host or something in Melbourne. And I don't mean any shade to this actor. Don't mean shade to her either. I'm sure they're probably very capable, credible actors, Just going to be real. Pulling off realistic Russians, they do not. So in what is a really, really well acted show for the entire rest of the whole season, episode 1 and the first 3 episodes of season 1, these two are just like the weakest links in the whole show. And I put it down to just that they had a task beyond maybe their scope. Hey, Australian actor man, I need you to be a Russian gangster. And boy, it just doesn't fucking hit well. So yeah, these two performances, if you ask me what's bad about the show, why can't you give it 10 out of 10? It's not impeccable. It's not without flaw. As an example, True Detective. Near impeccable season 1, qualifier. Near impeccable season of television. Flawless acting, flawless casting from everyone involved. I get it, HBO, much bigger budget, right? Not an apples to apples comparison, but it just popped into my head as in like, hey, I'm shitting on these two actors here. They're doing a job, and here's me just being an asshole on the internet, critiquing their work, criticizing their work. But yeah, it's like just the one thing, you could argue it's even nitpicky, that I think in an otherwise show of stellar acting, this is probably a couple of the weaker links. Chat. Up. Legendary Shatner crash out, Reddit. Dialogue is also bad because they expect the audience to not be watching the media but playing it in the background, at least for Netflix. Oh, God. I can't wait till they start doing, what is it, like 9:16 ratio, and all Netflix movies are just in fucking vertical short form. What do you call it? Yeah, aspect ratio format. I'm going to start using "you look like a podcast host" as an insult, if you get what I mean, though. The accent was like rich coming from me, YouTube man. The accent was pretty shit for the brother, I won't lie. Yeah, both of them, it wasn't great. She's a bit better. Hers is a bit, I don't know, more realistic sounding Russian. What the fuck do I know? Like, I'm not a Russian speaker, but you know, you can still tell when someone's doing a shit Russian accent versus a good Russian accent, right? Like, even if you don't speak Russian, and I think that's telling that if I can look at these and like, that doesn't sound Russian at all. And then I go to the IMDb and sure enough, born in Melbourne. Just like, come on, boys. Death to vertical video, just turn your damn phone. Yeah, real. Okay, some miscellaneous stuff here to wrap it up. Tracy Brandt. Didn't he have a comment already? Or she? I don't know. 9524. In the L-shaped shotgun ambush, you can see Chekhov's wood chipper in the background. A full-sized wood chipper would dispose of the bodies better than the little 6-inch model in the movie Fargo. That's pretty cool, and I can't say I noticed it. But yeah, there's a wood chipper somewhere. Actually, I think that's the thing Graham's leaning up against, isn't it? It's kind of fun to think about. Well, not fun. Grim to think about. Obscure RP says, the best you'll see of Damon Herriman is Justified as Dewey Crow, a phenomenal performance that elevates a comedic role into cinema's most beautiful idiot. I put this comment up because there were dozens of comments talking about Dewey Crow, and I had no idea what a Dewey Crow was. So yeah, I had to Google it, and it's Damon Herriman, who I did bring up in the show. Played Hanson. Played Manson in Mindhunter and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And was this dude too, apparently, Dewey Crow from Justified, which I haven't seen, so did not know. But yeah, then also a few other comments pointed out he's one of the degenerates in Breaking Bad. So this is him, I think, in that disgusting, I can't remember if there's a word for it, skeg house or whatever, where Jesse goes into and like the lady drops the fridge on his head. Is that him? But yeah, I think that's that scene here with Breaking Bad. But Herriman, bang on actor. I looked him up. I Googled him when I was kind of researching the video. He's been cast in something insane just recently, where I was like, this guy could be getting like uber big roles, right? Because he's obviously a very talented actor. Man's 56 years old. Bro, people just look younger these days. Like, I know this is an older show. I would not have picked him for pushing 60. Actors just look younger than real people, don't they? Okay, anyway, no, I Googled real quick him because he's in something fucking crazy. I was just like, when I looked him up, like, he'll be getting heaps like serious work, and he's done Manson twice. Well, surely he's going to be doing. He was in 2026, so this year, he was in Mortal Kombat 2, which I haven't yet seen, as Quan Chi. And I fucking pronounced that correctly. So no one come at me with the I'm racist against Asian claims. Quan Chi is like an Asian sorcerer from Mortal Kombat, is he not? He was the dude with like the white body paint and the red shit all over him. Hang on, let me see. This is fucking crazy casting. I can't do it. I was going to copy paste, but I'm in reader mode. Yeah, he plays Quan Chi from Mortal Kombat. I was like, when I googled Damon Herriman, this actor, oh gee, I wonder what he's got coming up next. What's his next roles? Not in a billion years would I have guessed that correctly. Fucking chat. No, it's not Shang-Chi. You're thinking of Shang Tsung. Quan Chi. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi. Unless you're deliberately trying to wind me up or trip me up. Quan Chi was a white-skinned dude, like fucking not racist, pause, white skin, white, like literally white body paint. Shang Tsung was like a long ponytail guy, and he commonly wore more yellow stuff. Or in the more recent Mortal Kombat games, he was in like yellow. Chat, what else we got? Up. Dude, when I started watching the show, I had to do a double take. Like, is that Dewey fucking Crow? Yeah. Then I had to realize he was also Manson twice. Chekhov's wood chipper, if you show it in the first half, it has to recognize. I get you. I get you. It's not quite correct use of Chekhov's wood chipper because, yeah, we didn't see it again. But, yeah, I get the gist of what he was saying. Shang-Chi, I don't know, it's been a long time since I looked at that franchise. Yeah, same. There's like crazy. There's a Mortal Kombat and a Street Fighter coming out, I think, this year. Boys, that's it done for the slides. 2 hours, 48 minutes. Good grief. I said 2 hours. I went 48 minutes over time. I didn't say I was going to be 2 hours. I said I thought it would be. Anyone got any final quizzes? Any Q&A stuff? Anyone want to yap about anything? Before I wrap up here real quick, because my fucking throat is killing me. How do them streamers do it? Aren't there streamers who stream for like 12 hours a day? How are they pulling that off? Do they do like vocal cord training or what? Let's see what we got. I don't answer questions. Can I help you? Are you the chick with the huge quads? Weird role for him. What the fuck? That is not Quan Chi. That is... You're a fucking madman. I'm not even going to Google that. Chick with huge quads. Mortal Kombat. Who cares? All that. Come on. Get the fuck. Bloody calm your roll. Quan Chi was the guy on the side of the Mark IV arcade cabinet. Was he? MK4 arcade cabinet. He was scary, man. He was like the sorcerer. I remember when he first appeared in like Mortal Kombat 4 or whatever. He had really cool like battle cries, I guess you'd call it. I'm not going to do it because I'm not escaping the Asian racism allegations here. But no, I remember he was a scary character. I remember thinking like this dude's like got fucking aura, as they say. I like the idea of every time you see a wood chipper pointing it out to whoever you're with and saying, oh, Chekhov's wood chipper. What's the next battle? I'm not sure, man. I was talking about it earlier. I looked into Battle of Yonkers, but then I kind of steered away from it just because I don't want to back up one zombie battle against another zombie battle, noting I just did Winterfell. I revisited, also, I mentioned it before, I was just tentatively researching some stuff today. I revisited doing Umbara from Star Wars. Just very difficult, man. Very difficult to it's a massive creative challenge, and every time I look into it, I get overwhelmed with just how to visually lay it out on the screen, and even just how to integrate that battle is crazy, and it's very complicated, man. So Umbara kind of just makes me scared whenever I look into it, just the scale of it. Well, that was a good one, boys. Cheers, Riley. This was a lot of fun. You should announce them earlier. I missed the first 40 minutes. Bravo, I announced, I put a community post up 30 minutes before. Do you guys not see that? Do you not get like the notifications? I mean, I'm not like, Shelly, you fucking don't see it. I mean, did you not receive the technical notification of the community post? Do I have to beg you to turn on the little bell? Is that what I need to tell people to do? Turn on a little like and subscribe and turn on a little notifications bell so you never miss a video. It really helps the channel out, guys. I don't want to do that in my videos. Sorry, I get that's not what you're saying. But yeah, I put up the 30-minute notification post, and I put up a thing yesterday. I'm not sure what else I can do. SAS at the Battle of Hogwarts. Yeah, Hogwarts is... you know what, I fucking could maybe do Hogwarts. Just get it out of the way, because I'm dreading that one too. I'm dreading the fan base. With passionate fan base comes passionate comment section. I would probably do defensive for Hogwarts, to be honest, just because it's easier. It's easier video to make. It's an easier battle plan to plan as well. I saw it 40 minutes into the stream. That's fucking insane and annoying. Well, my YouTube preview is showing the completely wrong, what do you call it, slide. But on my screen, I'm looking at the questions. I don't answer questions with him talking to the policeman. Is that what you guys have as well? Probably should make an hour before the start. You never know with YouTube's notification system. Yeah, true. Okay, I'll do that next time. I'll take that away. I'll give an hour notice. I did one yesterday as well. Like I did hey, I'll be going live this weekend. But yeah, I guess I need to do an hour is probably the sweet spot now that you mention it. No offensive against Hogwarts. Oh, it's too hard. Hogwarts debrief will require a 2-drink minimum. Oh, yeah, boy, I tell you what, I'm going to need something stronger than H2O for Hogwarts debrief. That's a damn sure. Instead, just do a video on if Gryffindor would survive 2 hours in Mogadishu. What do you mean the Harry Potter fan base is the most non-toxic, most well-balanced one out there? Drink green tea with honey for your voice. Sounds basic that it works. Thank you. I'll give it a go. Same here. An offensive to kill Voldemort seems more thematically appropriate to me, but your choice. Isn't Voldemort attacking Hogwarts, though? Or does he occupy Hogwarts? I can't remember. This is the other thing, too. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I've seen them, but, you know, it's not certainly something I can just off the top of my head riff off. I would have to do extensive research. Helicopter assault on Minas Tirith. What happened? What would happen if Mordor had CH-47s? The Quidditch team runs the Mogadishu Mile. Voldemort is attacking. Yeah, see, that was what I thought. No, I would do defensive too, because I think it makes for a just, not only is it simpler, which selfishly I'll admit is better for me, it just makes for a more fun plan, because I want a map, I'm picturing an aerial map of Hogwarts, and I'm saying this tower's got a mag 58, this tower's got a 50 cal, there's a sniper team up on this rampart, this set of crenellations has got whatever, one section from one platoon. That just sounds fun to me, you know, like I can picture laying down my little dots slide by slide on the Hogwarts map and showing their little arcs. These guys are covering there's that main bridge, right? There's like a main, not a drawbridge, just actually a bridge. It's almost like a viaduct kind of thing. That seems cool to me. Voldemort is attacking. Voldemort called the new cows on Hogwarts. If you want to hear, he's got them, he's got the bloody ring wraiths. What are those ring wraith things he has? If you want to go into a neat fictional battle, it's not a big hassle. There's a few good Halo ones like the Assault on the Silent Cartographer or Cairo Station. What the fuck is that? The Silent Cartographer. Defensive Cairo Station. If it involves special forces and offensive, it makes more sense to me, at least for singular battles. The Aderon. It'll be interesting because electricity doesn't work in Hogwarts. No comms, true. Electricity, like, there's a magnetic field, you mean? Oh, that's how they hide it, isn't it? Because it's hidden from the bloody muggle world. It's like it's like Wakanda or some shit. Like, you can't see it. You can't just, like, stumble across Hogwarts if you're, like, a muggle, can you? So, yeah, safe to say that there's not going to be too much radio working. So that's going to strike off that one from my critical capabilities list. Sometimes also I'm finding it's hard to come up with, and you'll notice I just change when I'm doing the videos. Sometimes I'll have 6 critical requirements or critical capabilities. Sometimes I'll have 3. Sometimes I'll have 6 critical vulnerabilities. Sometimes I'll have 2. I feel like I'm repeating some of them, but it's just down to the character of these battles that when you have the modern force against the non-technological force, a lot of these things are going to be the same. So I'm kind of like, oh, fuck, man. Like, it's the same one you used in the other one. I'm like, are you actually doing analysis? Are you just copying your own work? But it's like, no, I think I am. It's just when the similar, the character and the nature of the battle is the same, it's going to have similar things like that in terms of how you assess their strengths and weaknesses. So it's just kind of, it is annoying though that it's getting repetitive to even me, I'll confess. So I don't know how it is to you guys as a viewer. I always assumed they just didn't use Muggle stuff, didn't realize it didn't work. It's just too much magic in the air, fucks with electricity. Explanation. Ah, yes, they call it the Wakanda of England. If I recall correctly, it's a thing where some microscopic sprites mess with either electronics or electricity in general, but it has been years since I looked in detail. Microscopic sprites, what? There's a culture thing with wizards not liking Muggle stuff. Yeah, that part I'd seen, because I remember ages ago, I put up a community post and I was like, poll, question, are wizards from the Harry Potter world immune to bullets? And it was like, yes, no, it's complicated. And it was mostly like no, like the consensus, and even from there are a lot of Harry Potter fans in there who clearly knew their shit. It was like, no, wizards are not any more immune to bullets physically than we are, but the spells will act as a form of shields. But with that being said, spells, and this is the consensus, spells are not as fast as a bullet. So you still have to cast the spell to protect yourself. So, yeah. Okay, at first this sounded dull and hand-wavy, but props to the lunatic author. If there's microscopic pixies fighting... Oh, pixies! Did I say pixels? Was it pixies? I think I misread your earlier comment, whoever that said. Oh, microscopic sprites. Sorry, sprites as in literal little creatures. I was thinking sprites as in like computer graphics. Gotcha. Sprites as in pixies, I see. Microscopic pixies fighting electronic fields, because that's funny. British Army versus Death Eaters. If I remember from my childhood, I think there's actual mention in the books that wizards are kind of terrified of Muggle wands, aka guns, based. I think the books just say Muggle technology doesn't work, so I suppose you could be as strict or lenient as you want. Oh, Christ. To make a good video, obviously saying guns wouldn't work would be a shit video. Yeah, okay, that's going to kill me. Because that's like the Star Wars armor debate. And holy shit, did the Star Wars fans not appreciate my take on that in the Hoth video. Which essentially, my assessment came down to Stormtrooper body armor is as effective as the story needs it to be. Which I think is a fair statement. So, I was like, I think modern armor-piercing ammunition would go straight through Plastoid. But yeah, the die-hard Star Wars zealots were not pleased with that assessment at all, to say the least. And you know the weird thing, man? I used to consider myself a Star Wars die-hard fan. I really did. And then I simply stopped. Maybe I grew up. My setting involves a major war between Merc Zebra Cakes. Merc Zebra Cake says, my setting involves a major war between humanity, angel-human hybrids, and witches. Spoiler, the witches get smoked by the end. By saying they can't, Docky Zoom says, by saying they can't use comms or certain electronic targeting, etc. would be a fair limitation. Muggles don't work at Hogwarts, period. If I recall correctly, it's enchanted, so all I see is dilapidated ruins. That's pretty cool. Ruse. Bloody fucking... Thanks for the dono, bro. What is that, 10 euros? Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Thank you. It's bloody big money. Big amount of cashies. Sincerely appreciate you, though. Kudos for being fair with your BMAC, by the way. Have some change from me, though. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so on that note, I put a post up about... No, I didn't put a post up. I put it on the... I'm shutting down I have the blog portal, which is Buy Me a Coffee. It's like a Patreon-style service, but not as... It's just a smaller version of Patreon. And I blog there... Used to. I'm just shutting it down, and I think I like cancelled, which you should have got a refund. I assume that's what you're saying here, Ruse. So yeah, I cancelled the memberships, and I believe whatever billing period you're in, you got a refund for that. So I hope that's what happened. I hope that's what you're speaking to here, Ruse, because that's what I believe was led to believe would happen when I cancelled them. But yeah, I'm shutting the blog down, boys. I just don't have... I'm not... To be frank, I think it's kind of fucking scummy to have the paid blog thing, and I'm barely using it, and I'm just not putting enough posts on that to the point that I think it's offering any value to the paying people to see this blog and see my writing. So I'm shutting it down. I think it's kind of scummy. So I'm cancelling that, and I'm just going to divert whatever attention I was giving that writing to YouTube community posts. So now I'll just put posts up on the YouTube thing, where if I want to write something, I'll just do it there. And the way I look at it, sort of the YouTube landscape now is covering a lot of the stuff that a lot of these other platforms do, Patreon and all that. Like obviously YouTube has the paid membership and that sort of thing. So hey, you want to fucking, I don't know, membership to your favorite creator, support them, you can do it in YouTube now. You don't have to go to Patreon. So it's also just a matter of streamlining all this sort of stuff that if you want to support CSRC/me/the brand, it can all just be done through YouTube. And it's not like, fucking go to my Patreon, go to my Buy Me a Coffee, go to this, go to that, do that. It's, yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm just streamlining it. And also, like I was saying, I just wasn't doing enough on the blog. I couldn't keep it up. So I'm shutting it down. So yeah, anyone who did dig it, appreciate you. But yeah, I think it's just the right thing to do. Swoosh Film says, love Star Wars, not enough to believe Stormtrooper's armor could stop. Not enough to believe Stormtrooper's armor could stop at 50 BMG. Yeah, real. Hot. That's 54.71 kangaroos or whatever currency. Kangaroo doos. It's dollary doos if you watch The Simpsons. Thoughts on humanity versus the Combine. What's Combine again? Is that Halo? I've confessed it a few times. I've never played a Halo. I've never played a Halo game. So yeah, dudes mention it all the time. I'm not super familiar with it. 7 hours of my thoughts. Gang. Oh, is that for how long humanity lasts versus the Combine? Or is the Combine Half-Life? What the fuck is Halo? Which one's Halo called? Half-Life. I just remembered. Combine is Half-Life. Yeah, interesting. Someone mentioned Half-Life earlier in the chat. Yeah, it's a fun idea. It's just, again, it's a visual design challenge, which I repeat myself. It sounds like a broken record, but I need to be able to put it on a 2D orthographic top-down view map and put it on a screen for people to look at so I can move my little blue and red dots around. And obviously doing that for Black Mesa is quite the ordeal, if you get what I mean. Half-Life 2. Combine is Half-Life as in IRL. Thanks, champ. As in IRL. Thoughts on humanity versus Combine. I don't know, man. I haven't really thought about it in that way. Like, what is the Combine's like more than? I think I saw a video essay pop up on it on YouTube. They're like super ethereal and shit, aren't they? They're like a Cthulhu, Lovecraftian threat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I don't think they're just freaky looking little aliens. They're like an intergalactic life force and shit, right? So I think they're actually super OP. I might be thinking of, if that's the video I was thinking of. Covenant is Halo, that's the one. Great show. Watch Man Bites Dog. You won't regret it. One thing I would say is maybe an option to donate one-offs rather than subscription would be good for those of us that dislike recurring payments. Yeah, true, fair. You can do that. I'm not fucking saying like, yeah, bro, give us some money now. You can do that on YouTube now, though. I believe you can just do the one-off donos in stream and shit, or even on comments. In the YouTube comment section. What do they call that shit? Super chat. But yeah, that is a fair point. Halo is the Covenant. Combine literally defeat every human. Yeah, I've seen this take that Combine from Half-Life are uber OP. I'm still laughing about Bill Shatner arguing about podcasters with RLM. Yeah, if you haven't seen that, actually, I don't know if you'd enjoy it. If you haven't seen Red Letter Media, you could probably be brought up to speed on the lore quick enough to get it, but it's just one of the funniest internet sagas there is. I actually don't know too much about them, but from what I've read, they're OP. Damn, I just watched 4 episodes recently. Love it. Sharp as F knives. I missed Inbetween you're talking about? What are we talking about? How about Left 4 Dead? Is there a single battle in Left 4 Dead? Again, broken record, but it's the same thing. If there's some single battle I can neatly carve out on a map and show in 2D, it can be done. Combine is some alien race that enslaves other races, if I recall correctly. Oh, yeah, true. Because those like aliens you see in Half-Life 1, they're like slaves, aren't they? And there's more on that. They expand on that in Half-Life 2. The Combine is a multiversal threat with super OP armies and stuff. They are insane. Took out early 2000s Earth in 7 hours, as I said, yeah. Yeah, I think must be a big fucking trending video on that because I feel like I've... Can I bring up shit? The Combine Half-Life. Half-Life's horrific Combine Half-Life lore. Just how bad is the Combine? Half-Life 7-hour war, how the Combine crushed Earth in 7 hours. Wow, there's heaps of like Combine lore. So you know in Half-Life 2, you know the people with the white masks, right? Like the pick up that can. Are they actual people or are they aliens under the masks? Did you ever watch, sorry chat, Reddit? Just of like, Mr. Man, did you ever watch the best of the worst of that vampire movie where the main character... Did you ever watch the best of the worst of that vampire movie where the main character was a vampire with AIDS and some Shrek-looking bloke as the Robert Pattinson stand-in? I did not, but that sounds amazing. Outstanding. Oh man, I want to go watch more best of the worst now. The military seems to be doing just okay in Left 4 Dead, not great enough. They still have jets and whatnot in Left 4 Dead. And they get their shit pushed in by MIT accredited physicist who pushes trolleys for a living. True. I'm more interested in modern army having the gravity gun and how do you use it. People. Left 4 Dead just ends up being pilots flying around in helicopters picking up survivors. They are human. Actual people, but altered to suit the Combine's needs, like indoctrinated. You know what that reminds me of? It's on Netflix, I think. It's that Oats Studios, which I think is the Neil Blomkamp Vision, the shorts thing, the anthology. And it's that one with Sigourney Weaver, where its Earth has been taken over, invaded by the lizard-esque, bipedal lizard-esque alien creatures, and they're telepathic, and they're exceedingly brutal and disgusting and enjoy torture and torture humans for fun and have enslaved the Earth. And there's those disgusting like spires of lizard slime or whatever it is they're doing, toxic sludge. Almost sort of Combine vibes from that, huh? Like I wonder if they were inspired a bit by that. That's a cool thing though, that Oat Studios. There's that one, the Lizard Aliens one, and there's that other one about the River Walker, or what's the one where it's set in Vietnam? And it's like the Viet Cong dude who through grief gets turned into a demigod skeleton who can, like, has telekinesis, and he walks around as that horrifying fucking like melted skeleton face thing. What's that called? They're just short films on Oat Studio. It's called Oat Studios on Netflix. It's just like a bunch of short, very short films. The white mask ones are basically cops. They have some slightly augmented human soldiers, over the bulk of their forces on Earth are human. It's called The Last Vampire on Earth, and it's made by a guy who's like the real life equivalent of Borat. Vitali Versace, director of such hits as Born into Mafia. Fuck, I'm going to watch that. A tactical analysis from some kind of zombie media would be interesting if you have to deal with the defenders turning if the line is broken. Yeah, I definitely am keen to do a zombie one because there's no... I don't piss off any fan bases when I do zombies. No one tends to get as wound up about undead shufflers. District 9. No, it's not District 9 though. It's I know what you're talking about. It's the same director. Oat Studios, and it's Seasons and shit. It's called Raka. Rakka. Oat Studios TV series 2017 to 2020. A series of experimental short films that envisions post-apocalyptic worlds and nightmarish scenarios. Yeah, so it's got like that. Yeah, it's called Raka. Rakka. A race of ruthless reptilian. Holy alliteration. I can't fucking read that. A race of ruthless reptilian aliens have invaded the Earth and enslaved humanity. The survivors are fighting a losing battle, but hope comes from strange allies. It's like, how long is this thing? Like 15 minutes or so? But yeah, it's on Netflix, I'm pretty sure. It's sort of like a Love, Death and Robots sort of thing. You know, just a little mini series with a different story in every little different episode. Any interest in doing more videos in the style of the War Machine one / kit stuff? Yeah, for sure. It's, if it jumps out at me, it's more just finding the appropriate movie. You know what I was thinking of for that? The kit stuff one? Because I keep seeing clips for it, and I've noticed weirdly, it's now trending on X, it's trending on Twitter, but I keep seeing clips from this Lioness show with Zoe Saldana, and she's allegedly, well, not allegedly, she's CIA super soldier lady and works with JSOC or is part of JSOC. I don't know. But the clips I see is just Zoe Saldana screaming hysterically people about how she outranks them. And it just looks terrible. It looks like shit. It's one of these things, again, like, who wrote this and who thought, like, this is cool military drama. This is what military people argue like. And it's one of these insane things where it's like, this is fucking nuts. Like, this is a weird fantasy. I don't know, like, at risk of being a bit bloody controversial, is it weird, like, girl boss power fantasy thing? Because not that, oh no, strong women in film bad. This is not how you portray a strong female military leader. Like, if you want her to come across as a credible, capable, I get it, she's CIA, not Army, but she works with and around and for military people. That's not how you show, like, a realistic, hey, she's a CIA agent, so she's the equivalent of, let's say, I don't know, a colonel when she's on this base. Because the scene I've watched, she's screaming about how, I'm the highest ranking person on this base and everyone better fucking remember it or something. And just like, man, that is that is a toxic leader. That is not someone you want to follow into battle. You know what I mean? So it's not one of these things that, oh, I don't want to watch it because it's Zoe Saldana and she's a strong lady and I don't like strong lady characters. Not the case. If you want to show a strong lady character in a realistic military show, that's not how a strong military lady character looks. It's crazy. So I was thinking of maybe doing something like that. It would kind of be pretty critical though. It'd kind of be pretty hard hitting. I think it'd get a lot of hate. But with that being said, the main obstacle to that is I haven't seen the fucking show. I just keep seeing clips of it and thinking this looks like it sucks. And yeah, I then have to watch the whole thing, which looks excruciating. Yeah, comments. The screaming match, that's so awful. Yeah, oh, Spec Ops Lioness, not quite a super soldier last I watched, but it's shit. Swoosh Film says, oh wait, is that the show where there's a helicopter pilot and Zoe Saldana yelling at each other? Yeah, exactly that. I keep seeing clips of this scene and just thinking, I don't want to work under Zoe Saldana, Lieutenant Colonel lady. She seems like a bad leader, as in the character they're portraying. It's like, this is not good. Yeah, that's the one. It was meant to be a woman empowerment thing and it does that well, but it doesn't do anything else well. But that's my thing. You can do woman empowerment and have her be like a realistic looking military commander. You know what? Okay. First example that pops to mind. Picture Captain Winters from Band of Brothers. Let's have Zoe Saldana just be Captain Winters. You want your credible woman empowerment moment. You say, go watch Band of Brothers. You're going to be this guy. This is the characteristics you need to bring to this role. That's how you get super credible, woman-empowered military leader. Not screaming matches and chest shoving. You get what I'm saying? But it doesn't do anything else. It's a funny thing. They always want to show modern women in power, but they do it so poorly. It just shows them putting women in charge is a bad idea. Ripley from Alien, strong female lead. Yeah, exactly. Ripley from Alien is the OG strong female lead and one of the strongest women empowering roles in cinema. And it came naturally through the storytelling and the characters' conflict and what's the word? Like her frictions and her battles in the show. Emily Blunt in Edge of Tomorrow, I've said enough. Ripley is the goat. When Zoe yells, all I hear all I hear is her in Avatar screaming, "Die, Sky people!" Yeah, man, it's hard to see like Avatar is like her thing, right? Emily Blunt in Edge of Tomorrow, bloody excellent take. Yeah, she's pretty good in that too. I like Edge of Tomorrow. Watch Ralph Fiennes from Schindler's List. Now there's a lead up. Good grief, lad. The fucking Germans in the chat playing up like a second-hand lawnmower. Dude, a lally. Wait, which one's Ralph Fiennes in Schindler's List? He's like the fucking villain, isn't he? You madman, he is. Oh yeah, because what's his name? Qui-Gon Jinn's the protagonist in Schindler's List, right? Oscar Schindler. Which, have anyone seen the skit with, what's it called? Bad Teeth, funny British man, comedian. Ricky Gervais and, who is Qui-Gon Jinn's acting? Liam Neeson, when he goes into, like, Ricky Gervais' office and he's like, I want to start doing comedy. I want to do stand-up, parody, slapstick, zany characters. He's talking about, like, that's how when I got the role by Steven Spielberg for Oscar Schindler, because he said, you're always writing lists, aren't you? It's like, you know what? That's exactly why I wanted this role. And they start laughing. And it's like, what's so funny? So, oh, sorry, I thought you were joking about how you got the role of Oscar Schindler in Schindler's List because you like writing lists. But that's not funny. I like writing lists. It's a fucking good skit. Don't take this the wrong way, but you're so very German. Amon Goeth, the commandant. Made kit analysis video like the War Machine. One, just thought of Sicario. It's a great movie, great tactic and shootout, but the gear is cooked, mate. Yeah, true. Bad Teeth, British comedian, all of them. Yeah, it was fucking a bit low-hanging fruit, my barb there, wasn't it? Boys, I'm going to wrap it up because I'm losing the ability to speak. So any final ones here before I bust a exit all over this stream? Aside from that, let me scroll up here real quick. Have I missed anything? What the fuck is this? The main vampire eats KFC and throws up, and that's a major plot point of him being exposed as a vampire. I've got to watch this video. I'm going to watch that tomorrow. Has some really gruesome shots like the entire Eiffel Tower covered in bodies. Yeah, that's that Oat Studios one, right? Well, obviously, who doesn't love KFC? I've missed those comments. Yeah. Okay, boys, I'm gonna jump off before I lose my voice even more. Thank you to everyone who jumped on. I'll see you on the next one. I'm gonna be gaming Wednesday night. I've got bloody Ghost Recon. I think I'm wrapping up Ghost Recon. There can't be too many missions left. We've liberated Europe. We're pushing them back into Russia. So I think I'm coming to a natural conclusion of that. And yeah, I think I'm going to jump on Ghost Recon Wildlands after we finish old school Ghost Recon. So to my memberoonies, who's normally in there? Ruse, I'll probably see you then. Ruse has bloody been pretty consistent. Avi, Riley. Who else did we have up here? Ruse, thanks for the dono again, mate. Really appreciate that. 10 euros, nothing to sneeze at. That's gone towards the new microphone fund, so I can get a microphone that doesn't accentuate my S's and my sibilants. Aside from that, boys, I'm just scrolling off in the chat here. Thanks to everyone who's jumping on. Thanks for the dudes who were here from the beginning. Oh, I can't even see the whole chat. Uncle Grumgrums. What a name. Krieg, Mr. Man, Hop, Mad Moo. Just going through some names here, boys. Azia, Braxi, Mr. Man, I said it. Hot Hop Loink, thank you for your German banter. The Slayer, Mr. Man, I think I said it. Who's this? Sanshi Robo. Sorry, I didn't read your name before. Thank you. Who else? Who else haven't I said? The Slayer said it. Okay, sorry boys, if I haven't read your name, or if you're from earlier in the chat, thanks for jumping on. Just a bloke, mate. Marty McFeels, back. Always recognise Marty because he's got like the super, it looks like Top Gun PFP, but it's not. Riley, I think I've read your name before. Okay, that's it. I think I'm just reading the same people names over and over again. Like I'm inflating the chat numbers artificially. Okay, now that's it, boys. Thanks for jumping on, all you chaps. Swoosh Film, I don't think I did read your name before. I'm going to wrap it up. I'll see you Wednesday if you're going to come along for that one. If not, I'll see you whenever it is you jump on the next time. And that is going to be it. Good stream, good fun, take care. No, thank you. Don, destroyer of bots, please do not bust an exit on us. Yeah, rest well. CS, good stream, good vid. Just a bloke, mate. Thank you. Time to pop smoke, Riley. Thank you. Ruse, see you on Wednesday. Cheers, Ruse. See you then, bro. Hey, thanks, boys. Fun one. Very civil, very civil. No fucking Kobe or LeBron or whatever that was from that last public stream I did when it got just out of control. No, this one was good. Very productive and some good fucking chuckles. But thanks, boys. I'll wrap it. and I'll see you for the next one. Cheers, boys. Ciao.